radio or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. 40,000 people in Orange County, California ordered to evacuate due to a hazardous chemical leak from a tank at an aerospace facility. Officials warning it could either fail and spill thousands of gallons of toxic chemicals, or it could explode.
Valve overheated on a 34,000-gallon tank containing a liquid used to make acrylic plastics. It was initially spewing toxic chemicals into the air. Fire crews spraying the tank with water, trying to cool it down. County officials expanded the evacuation zone.
At some point, this is going to fail, and we're doing our best to figure out the when or how we can prevent it.
But they say 15% of residents are refusing to leave their homes.
ABC's Trevor Ault. In New York City, a deadly explosion at a Staten Island shipyard. Workers trapped as fire raged. Mayor Zoran Mamdani.
I'm heartbroken to report that one civilian has passed away. I send my deepest condolences to their loved ones.
Dozens of others were injured, mostly firefighters. Tulsi Gabbard says she's resigning from her position as Director of National Intelligence, citing her husband's cancer diagnosis. ABC's Selena Wang reminds us that Gabbard came into the role without any traditional intelligence background, which drew scrutiny from some lawmakers.
The timing here is also notable because it comes shortly after Joe Kent, who is the National Counterterrorism Center director, resigned over the Iran war, and Joe Kent was a close ally of Tulsi Gabbard's.
That sinkhole that fouled up air travel at New York's LaGuardia Airport and beyond has been fixed. Good news for what's shaping up to be one of the busiest, if not the busiest, memorial travel weekend on record. But if you are heading out, ABC meteorologist Lee Goldberg says, pack an umbrella and a light jacket.
The highest rainfall totals in the south, but a flood watch is there through Monday. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, Houston to Charlotte, all the way to New York City. It's the rain and the chill in the northeast. 50s and 60s after 90s earlier. Finally, it gets warmer by Memorial Day.
You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Now learning more details about the race to help NASCAR legend Kyle Busch before his sudden death. ABC's Will Reeve has more.
I've got an individual that...
The Associated Press reporting Busch had been training in a racing simulator when he became unresponsive. At the time of the call, it sounded like Busch was conscious. The dispatcher saying help was on the way.
He's on the bathroom floor right now.
The next day, Busch's family breaking the news that the husband and father of two had died after being hospitalized with a severe illness.
British authorities say they've interviewed a woman who claims she was trafficked to one of the homes of Britain's former Prince Andrew. ABC foreign correspondent Marcus Moore.
While Andrew has not commented on this specific case, he has consistently denied all wrongdoing. The prince was arrested last February for suspected misconduct in public office. He was questioned for hours and then released. His arrest came after emails published in the Epstein files appeared to show Andrew had forwarded government information to Epstein while he was the trade envoy for the UK government back in 2010. His brother King Charles removing all of Andrew's titles last year over the scandal surrounding his friendship with Epstein.
This passing. Rapper Rob Bass, half of the duo Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, best known for their hit It Takes Two, has died. Bass, who had just celebrated his 59th birthday, died after a battle with cancer. His music partner Easy Rock died in 2014. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Pittsburgh, we've got a problem. Home care is in crisis and there aren't enough caregivers to meet the demand. So if you've got a loved one with Medicaid and needs care, don't wait. Freedom Care was built for this moment. We help you get care at home from someone you already trust. A family member or friend who can get paid to help with everyday needs like meals, medication, bathing, and mobility. If you have Medicaid, it's 100% free to you. No waiting lists. Just real care from your people right now. Freedom Care handles it all. Training, payroll, and support. So you can stay safe and comfortable at home and your caregiver gets paid after every shift guaranteed. With 97% satisfaction and over 150 million hours of care delivered, Pittsburgh families are already making the switch to care at home. Take care of your own and get paid with Freedom Care. Call 412-844-5990. That's 412-844-5990. Call now, 412-844-5990. 412-844-5990.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It is going to be cloudy and cool today with occasional rain and drizzle, high up to 63. Still a bit of rain around tonight with a low down to 56. Cloudy and warmer tomorrow with a couple of showers, high 76. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Rindy, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Rob Fratz on the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, your Pratt Pack, welcome to your holiday weekend. We want to begin with that story that they led with ABC News Radio just moments ago. In what is being called an unprecedented situation, tens of thousands of people in Southern California were told to leave their homes Friday, with officials issuing a dire warning that a chemical tank at an aerospace facility is in crisis and will either fail or explode. Firefighters initially responded to the leak at the GKN Aerospace Manufacturing Company in Garden Grove on Thursday for vapor releasing from a 34,000-gallon tank containing hazardous materials. And as you heard the news anchor moments ago saying, look, some people simply just don't want to leave their home. Look, one of the things you have to understand, and I've said this many times, for those of us who grew up in Western Pennsylvania during the height of the steel industry, there was always concern because of what particles were going in the air from those smokestacks. And people have said, well, one of the reasons why we are better today without all of that manufacturing is because of what has been left behind. But any time, and you have to understand this, anytime you are dealing with any kind of materials that could be flammable or toxic in any way, you're dealing with something that could always be a matter of life and death. No matter how much technology, no matter how much you have AI involved, there's always the human element. There's always going to be something that is going to be moving the economy forward, but is at a risk to the citizens of a community. But when you are told by the people that are being paid to prevent and to help you in times such as this because of your safety being in jeopardy, you must listen to what they have to say. And in a world that you continue to build things, whether it's on this side of the Atlantic or the other side of the Atlantic or anywhere around the globe, there's always going to be risk. But when you are fortunate, as we are and as they are in California, to have these responders risking their life to prevent you from losing your life for something critical happening to you, your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your community, you must step up and you must listen to what they have to say. So ABC News Radio throughout the day, KDKA Radio will give you the latest on that story. But once again, it just goes to show whether it's 1926 at the height of the steel industry here in Western Pennsylvania or fast forward to 2026 in our nation, there's always going to be a risk. But we have so much more in the way of preventative aspects of our community, our society, our nation today, such as those responders in California. All we need to do is to pay attention and to follow their lead. After all, they are the experts. They are the professionals. Now, another story that I saw in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette had me thinking. Again, baby boomer growing up, 5 sisters and me. Measles, once one of us got it, the rest of us got it, and my mother was relieved that it had come and gone. But because of modern medicine and vaccinations that I was a part of, such as TB and polio and more, a lot of this stuff became a thing of the past, in the rearview mirror. Not many of us concerned at all. Well, now, believe it or not, measles are on the rise in Pennsylvania. So vaccination rates plummet in hundreds of schools across PA. State health officials say 32 cases of measles have been reported so far this year. That's the highest total since 1991. Look, I am not here to tell you how to handle your children with your pediatrician or you as an individual when it comes to your health. But one thing is for sure, we need to find a way to make people understand there was a reason for Jonas Salk and all of the research and the things that have been done in our country, and a lot of it right here in Western Pennsylvania because of that incredible brand that is the University of Pittsburgh and their School of Medicine. We have to understand there was a reason for this. There is a reason for regular checkups. There are a reason for vaccinations. And look, we went back and forth, my radio audience, and many had strong opinions on the whole vaccination thing when it came to COVID. I was for it, got everyone I could possibly get. I still go back to that local pharmacy or my PCP to get certain things that need to be taken care of when you are my age, being shingles and all the other things that come with getting older and having the privilege to do so. But it was because of my parents who grew up in the Depression, and there were times they were just hoping to get food on the table, that they understood that their children were living in a new era, a modern era, post-World War II, having an opportunity to explore and experience the modern miracles of medicine. And polio, that vaccine, what Jonas Salk did, may be, in my opinion, one of the greatest miracles in the history of medicine. So just understand, I get it. I respect where you're coming from. But when it comes to your children, in my humble opinion, why do we want to take 2 or 3 steps backwards when it comes to these vaccines that have prevented a lot of these issues that we, as baby boomers, were fearful of? And that generation just before me, such as FDR and others, when it came to polio, it destroyed lives. It changed them within milliseconds as far as a future of being able to walk and to be free amongst the living. And many ended up either in an iron lung or in a wheelchair or with braces. Listen, it's time to understand medicine is still miraculous and it's helping people every day. My opinion, we need to go forward, not backwards. Okay. What we're going to also be doing this weekend, as we have for years, we're going to be talking about Memorial Day. And I just mentioned FDR. Well, it took a couple of days, but I had a chance on Netflix to watch something that I had watched on the History Channel years ago about FDR. And today's show, tomorrow's show, and my Monday night Memorial Day evening show, in which we'll be joined by some of our regulars, it's going to be, what are you complaining about? Why is America so divided? You know, it's been a while since I took that 20th century history class as a senior at New Brighton High School, and I still believe to this day it's the reason why I was able to stay focused to stay in school, because of my love of history. I've always loved history. I don't understand why, but my mother, father, and others realized that that was my go-to thing. They helped me. I embraced it. I still embrace it to this day, and it's one of the reasons why I think I became such a sponge for history. But I had forgotten some of the things that I saw years ago when this first came out on the History Channel. But we have nothing to complain about. And we have every opportunity to have an incredible way of life. But the sacrifices that were made by the greatest generation, many of those who died fighting either in the Pacific Theater or the European theater to give us the opportunity to live in the most powerful free nation in the world, what the people did back home is staggering. But what FDR did, from Social Security to the GI Bill to some of the most incredible fireside chats that were heard right here on KDKA radio and were heard on ABC and CBS, the Blue Network, NBC, that when radio came around in November of 1920, we, of course, being the very first radio station, it gave the nation an ear, a platform, and how FDR and that booming voice would bring them into that intimate setting of the Oval Office, and he would literally say to them, I cannot do this alone, when many of them didn't even have heat, didn't have food, and in some cases not even a roof over their head. But they band together women went to work and literally were the war machine, building the weapons down to the bullets to help us secure wins against Nazi Germany and the Empire of Japan. If that goes in the other direction, we may not be sitting here having the opportunities that we have today. So this weekend into Monday night, we're going to focus on the greatest generation, not just what they were doing on the front line, but what they were doing on the front line in America, too. True Americans, patriotism at its finest, sacrificing but coming together as one. An amazing story, and we'll talk about it. All right, stay with us. Much more to come today, right through Monday. Your holiday weekend underway with Rob Pratt, your Pratt Pack, KDKA. Good morning.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
News Radio KDKA Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bubba Chandler struck out 11, but the Pirates had 3 crucial errors and lost to Toronto 6-2. Two teams again today in Canada, 3:05 first pitch, 93.7 the Fan. Number 14 Pitt continues to impress at the ACC tournament. They beat the number 3 seed Florida State Seminoles 8-6 yesterday. It's the semifinal matchup today against North Carolina, first pitch at 3. On the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights over Colorado. They scored 3 in the third, the final 3-1. They're up 2-0. And OKC defeated the San Antonio Spurs 123-108. The defending NBA champs are up in that series 2-1. Byron Nelson tournament through 2 rounds. Siwoo Kim is at 18 under. He has a 5-shot lead. More sports at 937thefan.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
New to Medicare, get covered with MediConnect. Listen Wednesdays around 1:40 to hear Lance O'Brien of MediConnect help you navigate the Medicare process. Simply great, unbiased information to get you the best healthcare coverage. Get covered with MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I've had the privilege of seeing miracles, broken families rebuilt, every crash, every workplace injury, every medical mistake. Fighting back can work. We've gone toe-to-toe with insurance giants, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion recovered. Size matters. Reputation matters. Results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Where Pittsburgh comes to talk. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, here we go. Let me take care of some business for you. As always, you can listen to us at 100.1 FM, AM 1020, KDK, or on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. You can also watch us online with our KDK video stream presented by Metropolitan Window Company. Just go to kdkradio.com and click on Watch KDK Radio Livestream, and now you can just go to our KDK Radio YouTube page and watch everything we are doing in the studio. Hey, if you know someone in your community who has done something extraordinary in the past year, nominate them now, kdkradio.com, to be honored at this year's Larry's Hometown Heroes event. Open talk until 8 o'clock, and then we'll have a bonus hour in the noon hour today. So give me a call, 866-391-1020, or remember, NASCO Roofing Instant Access to our shows. Great way to catch up with all of us here at KDK. Just a click away. Email us at instantaccesskdkradio.com. All right, let's begin with Ken, Lower Borough. It's been a week. Ken, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you doing? I see we went through an election. Not too many people decided to show up.
Yeah, that's disgusting. It is.
Well, it's sad. I mean, people should take at least a minute out of their day. I mean, there weren't any lines, at least where I was voting at. I was hoping there'd be more. I think 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was number 58 or 59. I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? But anyway, you were talking about measles and the outbreaks, and I've brought that up on this show before. I said, this country was vaccinated. This country had no bed bugs before the introduction of, and I tell you this from being boots on the ground. Every exterminator that I talk to, they tell me where it comes from. Colleges, college students, foreign college students coming in, and that's where when you introduce a group of people that don't have vaccinations into a group of people that have like maybe older vaccinations, those people, we will get it. And the illegals that came in, I tried to explain this. I mean, yes, we are a country of people that come into this country, but when my grandparents came in, they were all vaccinated. They had all their shots, they were checked out, and they were either approved or rejected. That's how it was. You just don't walk across the border. You can't do that. And they're in these local communities, local schools, and we are a population in Pennsylvania of older people, which you're exposing those people to all this stuff, and it's a shame. Another thing came across, which was amazing to me. I mean, Pittsburgh having problems with gangs of kids down there, and they need to do something about this. What Schumann Center has, 16 beds? I mean, if you're going to be an organization in the city of Pittsburgh and a nonprofit at this point in time, you're going to have to put money into the kids. If they can't be rehabilitated, they have to be incarcerated. You can't leave kids out with ankle monitors. They cut them off. They leave. I mean, it's a shame. I look at it this way. You have two groups of people in Pittsburgh, your upper and your lower class, and you're not having these problems in Mount Lebanon. You're not having these problems in Fox Chapel or Aspinwall. I mean, why are those areas not having those problems? They're democratically held. I mean, I think Fox Chapel just hit number 1 in the state for school districts again, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, bring some of those values in those communities downtown. I mean, you have to have a stronger police. You have to have a stronger judges. I mean, what are you voting in down there? It's a shame. You yourself, if you had ShotSpotter in your community, what would you do? What would you do? You would leave. I can guarantee it.
Well, I don't know about that. I just put a lot of sweat equity into this little house of mine, and they're going to have to drag me out of there kicking and screaming.
Well, I mean, if ShotSpotter's being put in your neighborhood, there's a problem because they're not cheap. They are not cheap. And, CBS, I think, just shut down another radio station. I guess it's their main one. I don't know if you picked that up this week.
I don't know anything about it. All I know is I'm loving this ABC News Radio. I love that beginning. It just takes me back to my youth when I started to fall in love with this business, and I love it. Hey, look, man, everything's changing because nothing stays the same. But one thing I do know, the biggest story that really made me kind of have my ears perk up, I can't believe that measles are the worst they've been since 91. I surely hope because we start pushing back on everything in our country, whether it be the government or medicine, that we don't end up basically going back to prehistoric days when people are dealing with mumps and measles and whooping cough and all this other stuff after all the sweat equity went in to develop these vaccines. And no matter what anybody thinks, the COVID vaccine, we lost 1 million people. We could have lost a whole lot more. People can't be afraid of medicine. That's ridiculous.
Well, like I said, the older community, and even me at my age, I've had those vaccines, but am I susceptible with some kid coming into a school and passing around a school district and me getting it or something for being in the community? I would probably be one that would get it because I haven't had when was my last vaccine? I was a kid. I'm 57. I mean, my immunity's got to be shot by now.
I wonder how many people actually remember getting the TB vaccination in school. You would line up and they'd get you with that little needle that would leave like 5 or 6 little, marks on your arm. And it was so painless and so quick. But I remember a kid in front of me, and I remember his name and who he is, and I won't mention it because, if he's listening, I don't want to embarrass him, but I remember he was right in front of me, and he got the TB vaccine, and he passed out. And I thought to myself, oh, it can't be that bad. And it really wasn't, but some people are just really squeamish when it comes to that stuff. But look, when it comes to your kids, I just think you owe it to them. That's my opinion, to give them every fighting chance to be able to battle some of this stuff.
Well, yeah, actually, I kind of remember that. I think it was first grade, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. Absolutely. First grade.
Oh, my God. You're bringing memories back that I thought I never would have again.
When we had morning prayer and we said Pledge of Allegiance. I got to tell you one quick thing before we move on to Ted and some other folks. This FDR thing, if you get a chance over the weekend, I watched it. It took like 4 days. But this FDR thing on Netflix, which was on the History Channel, and they've done Grant, and they've done, others too. But, man, I don't know how FDR, he died in his early 60s, and he basically wore himself out. But what he accomplished in those 2.5 terms was absolutely remarkable. I don't know how he got the country through what he got. When the war broke out, listen to this, Ken, when the war broke out, Nazi Germany had 2 million troops. We had 100,000. They had 5,000 planes. We had like 100. I mean, I don't know how we survived and were able to win. And when Pearl Harbor hit, it was so close of destroying our entire Navy. And how the early stages of radar, and they kind of poo-pooed it, didn't think it was anything, and a couple of times they had these great opportunities that they could have basically known what the Japanese were doing, but we were just asleep at the switch. How we survived the Depression, Prohibition, World War II, without a single tax dollar being spent is beyond me.
I look at it this way. You're looking at numbers of troops like that. And I look at China and North Korea. If we're looking at numbers, we're outnumbered. I mean, we got lucky because Russia actually got drug into the war, because once Germany invaded Russia, it was over for Germany. The numbers weren't there, population-wise. And, I look at it at a different – and this country being divided, we probably could get taken over at this point in time if things were done right on the other side. And that's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's scary, man. I watching that made me appreciate my parents and their generation even more. I mean, they every single dollar, took $8 billion to win the war, was raised by these movie stars who weren't complaining or pointing fingers at the president or the government, but they were raising money. They were absolutely raising money. They were giving every little nickel or dime or penny they had to buy war bonds. That's how we won the war. I mean,
at that time, they didn't introduce communism to this country, which is in here now, and that's the problem.
Well, here's the thing. FDR was very close. If he didn't get this done, we could have became a communist country. We were on the verge of losing our democracy because the Wall Street, crashed in 29. People were out of work. Manufacturing was on the decline. I don't even know how the steel industry survived because they weren't doing nothing. The coal community, they weren't doing nothing. I mean, people could not get work. They were waiting for these vegetable trucks to throw out rotten vegetables, and they were there with these makeshift boxes like they were grocery shopping just to take that, to hopefully find something that was good enough that they could salvage to eat. But there were people actually starving to death. I mean, and here's the sad thing. That's happening today. I mean, that's happening in 2026. Can you believe that? So what I'm saying is we should have never found ourselves in the situation with the homeless and what we're dealing with and the disease and measles numbers on the rise, the largest numbers in Pennsylvania since 91, after all of the things that have happened in medicine. Listen, why are we taking a step backwards? Patriotism. I don't even know how many of this generation, and it's not their fault, how many of them actually understand what Memorial Day and the true meaning is. All right, 866-391-1020. Ted, Jane, Robert, going to get to all of you. We're in Open Talk first segment up until 7 today, and then we come back in the noon hour with a bonus hour. Lots of great Pittsburgh Works programming today. Obviously, we'll have the latest news top and bottom of the hour. KDKA Radio News beginning at 6, but coming up in just a couple of moments, ABC News Radio right here on KDKA with your Pratt Pack, 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and on the Odyssey app.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Hearing the news every day is one thing. Hearing it hit home is something altogether different. That's the difference you hear every day on KDKA Radio. We go beyond the benign headlines and bring the news to life. Your life. So stay here and hear the news and what a difference it makes. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. An urgent warning from emergency crews in Orange County, California, that a chemical leak coming from a large storage tank at a Garden Grove aerospace facility could cause a spill or explosion. Orange County Fire Authority Division Chief Greg Covey.
That's why we extended the evacuation today. In an overabundance of caution, this is highly volatile, it's highly toxic, and it's highly flammable.
In New York City, one person dead, dozens injured by an explosion at a Staten Island shipyard. Tulsi Gabbard says she's resigning from her position as Director of National Intelligence, citing her husband's cancer diagnosis. Despite some engine problems, SpaceX tested its 408-foot Starship Friday. It splashed down in the Gulf as planned. That sinkhole that fouled up air travel at New York's LaGuardia Airport and beyond has been fixed. Good news for what's shaping to be one of, if not the busiest Memorial Day travel weekend on record. This is ABC News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It is going to be a cloudy and cool day with rain at times, high just 63. Rain continues into the overnight hours with a low down to 56. It'll be a little warmer tomorrow despite plenty of clouds and a couple of showers with a high up to 76. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Rindy, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Tuesday on the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. We will take you to Dublin, Ireland. Find out why.
All right, 866-391-1020. What do you remember your parents telling you about the Great Depression and about World War II? I remember my mother telling me, listening to KDK radio as a child growing up in Rochester, that, you know, she always thought because they had such great news back then of information, you know, from parts of the world that, you know, Lowell Thomas, all of these reporters from in Europe, that she always had such fear that she would wake up one day and there would be like war in Rochester. They would be fighting in the streets of Rochester. I can't even imagine what it was like listening to the radio and hearing these reports one after another. And FDR, you know, saying this is the day that'll live in infamy. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. But the country came together. There was no Republican or Democrat. It was us. There were people that were poor. They were all poor. Millions of people across this country were just up as scavengers trying to get through the day. But that goal of coming together as a nation was never more important as it was then. But the stories after stories after stories, an amazing part of our country's history. Ted, Mount Washington, KDK, your Pratt Pack. Hey, Teddy.
What's going on, Rob?
Everything's good. How about you, bud?
Oh, same day, man. Living our American dream.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned FDR. I remember seeing documentaries about him, reading about him, and it's amazing what he did. But also, I think we should put history in a broader context. And the reason why I say that, you remember FDR also, what was going on with Asian Americans in this country?
Yeah, horrible. They brought that up. They were put into encampments. That was horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
Heck yeah, put them in internment camps. And They got reparations for it, but we got to put in context. That was going on. And also, I'll never forget what Oliver Stone said. And if you see a documentary when he does history, it's phenomenal. And he always says he's a Vietnam vet. The greatest generation also got us involved in Vietnam. We should never forget that.
Well, here's another one for you. So I've been really into this history thing my entire life, and I remember watching the History Channel thing about Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy was brilliant, too, but one of his issues, and I believe a horrible issue, is how they treated the Native Americans.
Absolutely. But he was the first president to have African American in the White House. That was Booker T. Washington.
Yep. And he sadly, his own party really turned against him because of that, and he never did it again. And that's so sad. But that's why I get so upset. We've come so far, but we still are dealing with racism, and we're dealing with anti-Semitism. It's mind-boggling to me.
Well, I mean, that's this country. It's never been a perfect country. Okay, never been. From your Reagans, you name it. It's JFK. It's always about the forgotten man. Okay, the reason to me why people are so divided because they feel like their country has abandoned them and the government has abandoned them. And that's where, you know what, your great leaders come from. We go through this cycle over and over again, and we never learn a lesson. And, when people feel that way, they feel like, hey, this country is not for me, the government's out for themselves. Guess what? Up pops a Kennedy, a Reagan, you name it, Obama. So, it's a great call for leadership. I'll never forget what Ron Emanuel said. He said, I like Ron Emanuel. He was saying that. He said, hey, the person out there feels like, hey, that guy in office is not working for them. He said, you have to change that dynamic. You have to change that. You got to step up to the plate. And I'll be honest, our leaders right now, even the governor, is not stepping up to the plate. And I'll give you one thing, education, okay? You know as well as I know what was going on in our school districts. And I'll never forget when you had that one politician says the state refuses to do one thing, and this governor refuses to do one thing. And that's basically combine these schools. They have to have a pro-growth strategy. In other words, you're going to have to merge. And guess what? These schools don't want to do it. It takes a great leader to bang some heads and say, we're going to have to change. They don't want to do it. And that's why I say Shapiro, I can't vote for him because he's not that great leader. I don't see that. And that's what great leaders do. They understand, you know what, you got to put you got to put the state's interests ahead. You got to do the right thing. And we don't have that right now. All he's doing is just kicking the can down the road. And that's not leadership. And what FDR did, that takes great guts. We don't have those people right now, at least not yet.
Well, but here's the sad thing, Ted, and I'm just going to be blunt about this. Unless you're going to create jobs and bring a tax base back in the middle class to where some of these census numbers start going in the uptick direction, you better start merging these schools because guess what will happen? People will start homeschooling. They'll do more cyber education and all of these historic buildings and tradition and history. You won't have to worry about your mascot changing names or whatever the case may be because that school won't be there anymore. And then the next thing you know, the town will not be there anymore. So we will actually have basically ghost towns in Western Pennsylvania because once you lose your school system, you're done. But these people who are hanging on to the past and expecting it, like those who lost their job in the mills in the early 80s, hung around for 20 years, kept saying they were coming back. They better wake up. Unless these politicians who we are voting into office create jobs and bring jobs back, you better start co-opting sports and other extracurriculars, or better yet, you better start merging these schools. I mean, there are graduating classes in just a few weeks as we speak that are graduating like 40 kids. How do you sustain a school district with like 40 kids graduating? It's impossible.
No, and this mayor and also this county exec, you cannot say we're a great city, and meanwhile you're losing your school system. Okay? All right? And this, like I said before, I know Corey's, he's in there, but he needs to open up his mouth and needs to get involved. And same thing with the county exec. There is no way you can sustain this system if your school district is imploding. Right?
Well,
that is absolutely
Well, but
nonsense.
here's the other thing. The thing that really, and I brought it up on my show last week, and nobody, once again, wanted to chime in. Out of sight, out of mind. But look what's happening to the Pittsburgh public schools. They're closing buildings. That is a shame. I know they have no choice, but it should have never got to this point. Never.
Well, they got a choice. They got to merge. Okay, look, you only got, 17,000 kids? All right, are you kidding me? You think that's going to grow? They do not have a pro-growth strategy. And the only way you do that, you have to cut jobs, you have to merge, you have to do what you need to do to survive. And you have to reach out to nonprofits. The mayor should be involved. Like I said, county exec should be involved. This should be a state of emergency. And the product they're putting out, we can't compete with the rest of the world. And I agree with you on one thing. Yes, we need great jobs. Also, we need great homes. And also, you need a great education. That's all a kid needs. The rest is up to him or her. And we're not focused on that. We're focused on nonsense. And like I said, that comes from leadership, Rob. We don't have it. And also, real quick about the president. When he went over there in China, there's three things he should have said that she's here. And one thing is to say, stop dumping steel on the open market. You're flooding our manufacturing base. Also, stop dumping fentanyl in our country. Okay? I wish you would have said that. Okay? Because it's a problem with China. That's what they're doing. They're dumping drugs that's going from Mexico, it's coming up the border. It's killing people. That's why you got the homeless out there. That's why you got people on fentanyl. It's coming straight for them. And also, like I said before, you're right. You can't be a country if you don't manufacture anything. And China's been dumping steel on the market, and they need to pay a price for that. They are not our friends. You can't have open and free trade.
Well, but this whole thing, listen, and by the way, I am going to have more to say on the situation in Iran this weekend, but that China summit, that did nothing for me. It was one big yawn. One big yawn.
Absolutely. And like I said before, we need a president to stand up for that. We got to hold these guys accountable. If we're going to have trade with them, I don't mind. But look, you know how many steel mills they got in China and how much steel's been dumping on the market? Okay, that's why we don't have a manufacturing base.
Well, here's something for you. Here's something for you. When Weirton closed down their tin mill, I think we have like one. And these are the places that make your cans for soup and all this other stuff. China has like 12,000 tin mills. We have like one.
Yes.
And if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. They've got billions of people, millions in their military. They're putting a ton of cash into their military. You think for 1 minute that our military matches China's military? The only way we may have an edge is because of technology, but boots on the ground, it's not even close.
No, I mean, like I said before, the mentality in this country, and I have to include myself, we have benefited from previous generations, and I'll be honest, we've become selfish, so absorbed in ourselves, we've forgotten our freedom's not free. Unfortunately. And we take a lot of stuff for
granted. But can I tell you something? People don't care about that today, Ted. They don't care. Like, I'm purposely going to be talking about World War II and that generation quite a bit through Monday night, because I think the only way that you actually don't repeat history is you teach history. And I'm hoping a couple of young ears, because of parents and grandparents, have a chance to hear the stories that I heard, or watch something like on Netflix about FDR or even Teddy Roosevelt. Listen, the Great World War I, that to me, there's another story called The Great War. I don't think people understand. We were in that for a cup of coffee, but the devastation and what these soldiers went through, and they came back to build America. Are you kidding me? And then took America and their children through the Depression. We are so weak-minded in this country. We have no idea what people have done so we could be here in this great place that is the United States of America. People are clueless. They're clueless.
You're right. But you know what is great? And I'm glad that Donald Trump did this. You know what he did with the draft? Okay? A lot of kids don't know this. You're automatically enrolled. You don't have to even go down to the post office anymore. And don't think there won't be a draft.
Well, listen, this war in Iran, and I'm telling you right now, I don't know how you get out of it and save face. You have to win. There is no Two ands, ifs, or buts, and a win is no more nuclear weapons, and this regime leaves. It's that simple. You have to win the war in Iran. All right, 866-391-1020. How many of you remember the stories of your parents and grandparents telling you about Nazi Germany and Japan, Pearl Harbor, listening to the radio, rationing food? Back then, in America during World War II, to give you an idea, you were allowed 1 cup of coffee a day. Can you imagine if people in this country had to sacrifice coffee? I mean, as trivial as it may sound, we are so spoiled in this country. 866-391-1020. Your calls moments away as we continue on a holiday weekend Saturday edition, KDKA 100.1 FM, AM 1020. Good morning.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bubba Chandler struck out 11, but the Pirates had 3 crucial errors and lost to Toronto 6-2. Two teams again today in Canada, 3:05 first pitch, 93.7 the Fan. Number 14 Pitt continues to impress at the ACC tournament. They beat the number 3 seed Florida State Seminoles 8-6 yesterday. It's the semifinal matchup today against North Carolina, first pitch at 3. On the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights over Colorado. They scored 3 in the third, the final 3-1. They're up 2-0. And OKC defeated the San Antonio Spurs 123-108. The defending NBA champs are up in that series 2-1. Byron Nelson tournament through 2 rounds. Siwoo Kim is at 18 under. He has a 5-shot lead. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Indulge your senses at La Fleur. Join Phipps Conservatory and their Green Voice on June 11th for an exclusive sustainable soiree featuring live strings, floral fashion, and exquisite French-inspired cuisine. Presented by Dollar Bank. Secure your tickets for this magical night at phipps.conservatory.org. Add a spark your guests won't forget. Bring the Fierce Mom Energy pop-up selfie station to your next event. Unlimited photos and dance videos, instant sharing, fun props, and custom photo keychains. Your guests will love it. Book now at fiercemomenergy.com. It's back in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh. Rock, Reggae, and Relief returns Saturday, August 8th, featuring UB40, Ali Campbell, G-Love, and more. Enjoy summer vibes while supporting Cafe Momentum. Get your tickets today at rockreggaerelief.com.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-535-1582. 800-535-1582. Again, that's 800-535-1582.
The 50,000 watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, here we go. Right back to the phones. It's Robert in Plum for your Pratt Pack on KDKA. Hey, Robert, good morning.
Look, good morning, Bob. I wanted to say Happy Memorial Day to you and your family. And I also want to say that, yes, my grandparents lived through the Depression, and they taught me a lot of the skills. I'm still using a lot of their skills that they taught me every day. Don't throw things out. Always try to recycle everything and rebuild things. If something breaks, I automatically try and fix it, instead of throwing it out on there. Those are just skills that I've learned, and, it profited for me, absolutely. I can tell you this much, is that this generation here coming up, I can see the educational differences between me and what I had to work with this week. The educational difference is so great, it would really surprise you. I mean, the only thing they know is the computer, and they know that they think money is on a card or it's on your phone. This generation doesn't understand how to balance a budget. They've never been taught. My sister's a teacher, and the kids today, she says, they really don't care if they learn anything or not, because they say, oh, the computer will do it. We have a different value system today than we did when I was growing up. I mean, when I was growing up, you had to learn. There was no, oh, well, somebody else will do it for you attitude. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's the attitude, Rob, that we have to change in this country. If we don't change the attitude, we're not going to change anything.
So how do we do that? Where do we start?
You have to learn. First of all, we have to go back to the old ways of teaching. Nobody wants to go back to the way you had to learn things. Instead of relying on the computer, here's an example. My buddy's phone failed the other day. His car almost wrecked because his phone is attached to the car. And when the phone failed, you had to self-correct itself. He almost wrecked into someone because of the correcting on it. He got a brand new car, but you have to enable the phone to the car now. I mean, and he was calling me about it, so he had to take it back. It took him 3 hours for him to try and fix it. How we fix it is we go back to the old technology. The old technology works, Rob. I mean, I have stuff down there from the 1960s that's still working, radios and everything else like that I can show you, and everything still works. It's amazing how things still can work. I'm always amazed by old machinery and everything like that. It still works. I love the old machinery, you know. I love going there and looking at things and saying, wow, how did someone come up with that idea there versus what we have today? Everything's plastic and it breaks. You know, they're guaranteed and they want to give you a warranty plan on everything, which is crazy, even for a toaster. Everything out there has to go back. We have to go back to the old ways of teaching. We have to go back to the old ways of learning. This new way of learning isn't working out for anyone on there. And I believe the only way to really start that is you start when they're young and you teach them how we were taught, how to do things. And I totally agree with your friend caller, Ken, is that, you know, we're bringing this onto ourselves here. We brought the enemy in, as I always say, to ourselves. You know, you bring people in that don't have vaccinations, you throw them into the school, and you say, here you go, here's the best we can do. Before, when we had in the 1980s, when I went to school, we didn't have everybody coming in from different areas. We had people who actually lived in the area, we went to school in the area, and we knew one another. And the whole thing is knowing one another today. Most people don't even know people 5 doors over from them there. That's so sad in our country, you know. And you say you want to be united. You don't know people 5 doors over, Rob. You really don't. I mean, because you have new people moving in, moving out. There's no stability anymore in our communities. When I grew up, there was complete stability in there. Mother, father.
Well, I'll tell you a good example of that. So even though I lived in Beaver County my entire life, there was about a 20-year span where I spent a lot of time in West Virginia and Ohio, and very rarely did I get into my hometown of New Brighton. So I had gone into New Brighton because my children's grandparents lived there, and I took my children on a walk, okay? And I came back, and I said, boy, I don't really remember any of these people. I mean, my goodness, this must be their children or something of that nature. And here the person said to me that you have to understand, Rob, many of the people who live in this community are renting. And then I did a little deep dive because that's what I do for a living. And the majority of a lot of the places that I grew up back, you know, then it's like in the early 2000s, they were rental property now. So you don't even have families settling in and getting a 30-year mortgage anymore. Those days are gone too.
Totally, I agree. You know, I'm sitting here listening to you. I don't even turn on the lights anymore. I have lanterns everywhere that I push on, and the lanterns are so bright they light up the room. Here, I use battery power on there for a lot of stuff. I'm not using the electricity like I used to. I'm going back to the old ways of doing things, how we did things back then. And that's how it is. I mean, I can click on 2 batteries. I save myself money as far as energy is concerned, and that's just the way it's going to be with me. You know, I mean, I see how everybody's living. Everyone's living way beyond their means, and that's the problem that's causing us to go broke in this country. I mean, I think that if we went back to the old ways of doing things, we actually had to learn, instead of relying on a computer to do everything for you, I think the country would be a lot better. And I think that a lot of people are taking their kids out of school. I've talked to several people who said, I'm not letting my kids go to that school anymore. No. And what they're teaching them isn't enough for them to survive out there. You know, they're not teaching kids to be leaders. They're not teaching kids to be strong. We're teaching kids, well, somebody else will do it. You know, and that somebody else, I don't know who it is, but that's the way it is out there today.
All right, Robert, thanks. Listen, I've got Jane, I've got Bishop, I've got Eli, and I'd love to hear from you, too. We're talking this weekend, kind of focusing on a number of things. Rob Taylor, by the way, with that news coming up at 6, along with our colleagues at ABC News Radio. We're following a bunch of stories today. But because it's the holiday weekend and Memorial Day, I want people to understand the significance of what the true meaning of Memorial Day is all about. And I'm focusing kind of on the greatest generation because, sadly, the majority of them are gone. And, you know, also the Vietnam veteran, every single day we are losing, and those numbers are dwindling too. So it's about telling the stories. And the baby boomer generation really is that bridge that connects the greatest generation to the millennials, Generation X, Y, and Z, and asking you to share stories that your parents or grandparents shared with you about growing up in the Depression. And this show, it all started because of watching FDR. It was on the History Channel years ago. Recently, it's now found a home on Netflix. And it's a 3-parter, and it's lengthy, so it took me a while to watch it. But I had forgotten, because it's been about 5 years since I saw it, what FDR did during his time, 2.5 terms in the White House, died in April of 1945. But what he did in that period, getting through the Depression, starting things like Social Security, the GI Bill, getting Americans back to work, rebuilding America, continuing to build in construction, and then obviously the war effort, what he had to do. Women go into the factories, they weaponize the country. Somehow, some way, after the invasion or the attack on Pearl Harbor, we went from a force of about 150,000 to 12 million. That's how quick we basically ramped up our military as people from all walks of life rushed to sign up, and many, including my father, under the age of 18. So it was a very unique time in our country's history, and the most staggering thing is no tax dollars were spent to win the war. $8 billion the total cost, all of that because of war bonds from people who were buying them with pennies on the dollar because many of them were unemployed. So the American spirit was great, and I think sometimes you need to go back so you can understand what we really need to do moving forward. 866-391-1020, your Pratt Pack on a Saturday. Rob's next.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Vacation costs add up fast. The rental, the gas, the groceries. What about the stuff you actually want to spend money on? So before you book through a third-party site, visit SWAC Vacations directly. When you book direct, you skip the platform fees and keep more money in your vacation budget. Explore family-friendly vacation rentals at beaches, lakes, and mountains you love. Visit swacvacations.com, SWACK Vacations. Less wasted on fees, more saved for memories.
If you're in the Pittsburgh area and caring for a loved one with Medicaid, get paid starting today. Freedom Care has already helped over 162,000 families get the care they deserve, with 97% satisfaction and more than 8,000 five-star reviews. If you have Medicaid, you need to hear this. You may qualify to choose a caregiver you already trust, a family member or friend, and they can start getting paid. No agencies, no strangers, just someone you know, helping with meals, medication, bathing, mobility, and more. This service isn't for later, it's for right paid now. It's 100% free to you through Medicaid, and caregivers get paid right away after their shift. Find out if you qualify today. Call 412-801-7213. That's 412-801-7213. Don't wait. Call 412-801-7213 now. Again, 412-801-7213. Freedom Care. Get paid to care starting now.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 51 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 6 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. Pittsburgh Public Safety says a man was slashed with brass knuckles during a fight in Market Square in downtown. Incident happened around 8:30 Friday night on Graham Street downtown. A man broke out brass knuckles and slashed the victim, according to a public safety spokesperson. Police quickly took the alleged suspect into custody. The person who was slashed was taken to a hospital in stable condition. Wilkinsburg man on Friday was indicted by a federal grand jury in Pittsburgh on charges of influencing, impeding, or retaliating against a federal official or federal law enforcement officer by threat. Federal officials say 40-year-old Raymond Chandler III repeatedly called members of Congress and left threatening voicemails, including that he would kill a Congress member and the Congress member's daughter, along with the President Trump. Federal officials say the voicemails occurred between April of last year and May 1st of this year. Chandler faces up to 10 years in prison for each of the 5 counts, along with a fine of up to $250,000 for each count. Well, various organizations will come together today for a community outreach event, providing vital services to veterans and others experiencing homelessness. Here's News Radio KDK's Pat Septak.
It's called Bridge to Hope, an event hosted by the Disabled American Center's Chapter 76 to provide hope for individuals who are homeless or struggling financially. Leaders from the county, the VA Medical Center, and other organizations will be donating their time and resources to help those who are in need. Dr. Theron White says many community services will be available.
And we have individuals who are giving out free haircuts, or we're going to have hot food. We'll have a food bank there as well, so they can get any groceries they need. We'll have a clothing bank. They can get any clothing they need. We'll have educational assistance, hygiene products.
Today's event is being held at the Shepherd's Heart Veterans Home located on Pride Street from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And he promises no one will be turned away. Pat Septak, News Radio KDKA.
And if you were planning to head to Sandcastle Water Park today on this Memorial Day weekend, it will not be open today. Sandcastle announced that due to unseasonably cold temperatures, park will open on Sunday instead of today. Now, if you have a Sandcastle 2026 season pass, you can visit Kennywood today for free instead. If you have a one-day ticket for Sandcastle for today, it will be valid at the park for any other day this season. KDK Radio News Time. It's almost 6:03. We've got the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It is going to be cloudy and cool today with occasional rain and drizzle, high up to 63. Still a bit of rain around tonight with a low down to 56. Cloudy and warmer tomorrow with a couple of showers, high 76. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Reedy, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, so Rob Taylor, doesn't this weekend remind you of when you were a young child or student all the way through that final year at Central Catholic that you knew once you got through this weekend, it was smooth sailing for 3 months of fun in the summertime?
Well, first of all, once you get past this weekend, you realize that your school is hot.
Yes.
You know, no air conditioning, and you're trying to open the windows. So that's what I really remember. You know, when you get into, you know, the month of June or late May, you're just in class, and you know, you got the tie on at Central Catholic, and here's the funny thing: as soon as school lets out, you know, as soon as you get out, back in the day it was 2:20 p.m.
Oh, really? You got out early?
Yeah. As soon as you get out, you're taking that tie off. You're unbuttoning your top dress shirt button, you know, and
the cool look.
Yeah, get it cool. You gotta get a little air. Gotta get a little air.
So, favorite picnic food? Do you have some favorites?
I mean, I really love hot dogs.
Yeah,
with,
me
with
too,
mustard
man.
on them.
Oh yeah.
You know, sometimes the burger, if it's good. It seems like all the hot dogs I've had anywhere are good, but when it comes to the burgers, you know, I don't want them, you know, too burnt. You know, just give me a little bit, and then.
Well, what you need to do, we've had a giant 2-day of savings sale at Coons Market today and tomorrow. You can go check on your sales of the new Pittsburgh Courier, Beulah Road, and Highwood Street, and pick up some Silver Star hot dogs. Listen, as a kid growing up, I think people sometimes overthink things when it comes to these cookouts. Just give me a charcoal grill. Give me some hamburgers and hot dogs. Give me some Heinz mustard and ketchup. I'm good, man. I'm really good. I love the basics when it comes to picnic. Potato salad, macaroni salad, slice of watermelon. I'm good.
Yeah, me too. And, you know, I think back to, you know, my little days. You know, you remember the little Huggies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a Huggie in about, I feel like 12 years. But if I ever go to like a gas station or something and they have Huggies,
I just had
to go get them.
Pallets of those things in the garage when my kids were growing up. They love those little Huggies. You get the straw and punch it through the top, you know.
Or you know, if you're me,
just chug it.
If you're me, you just you know, use your finger and knock that out and start.
Isn't that so true, man? Hot dogs used to fall off the picnic table. Who cared? We'd pick them up right off the grass, rip them out of the dog's mouth. He'd get half, we'd get half. Life was just, I don't know. Everybody had a tree stump back in the day, and nobody would ever pay somebody to cut a tree down, so the stump was always left. But that entire summer, we had these little, you know, hot dog roast, and we get out our marshmallows late at night. And don't try this at home, but your dad would come out with gasoline, and everybody stand back, and, you know, you'd singe the hair off your eyebrows, but it was, oh, God. And then you get everybody had a penknife back in the day, and they'd go get a couple of sticks, and they'd whittle the little point down. And the parents would be drinking some cocktails, and kids would be running around catching lightning bugs and just having a good old time, man.
You know, Rob, we're in 2026, so, you know, technology's, you know, better and everything. So it's okay, right? But, you know, when I see people, you know, grilling, and they've got like these $700 grills.
Yeah, come on,
and they've got the, you know, and everything looks so perfect. You know, back in the day, I just remember my dad going out there with that little circular grill,
right?
And put the charcoal on it,
right?
And that was it, you know. And you see smoke, everybody just, you know, just cooking out with their little $40, $50 grill. And now today, you know, you walk past and it's like a
listen,
$800 grill.
God bless him if you can do that, but it's too exhausting. You know what? I didn't come here to make sure I have enough gas in the tank to fire the grill. And I have to have 100 different utensils. Just give me an oversized fork. Give me some hot dogs. a butter knife, and some Heinz ketchup and mustard, and I'm good to go. I mean, honestly, watermelon, delicious. Maybe some Jell-O if you're lucky, you're living large. But just keep it simple. Have some fun. And look, I see these people with these beautiful pools. God bless them. It's great. Back in the day, we had the garden hose. My dad would be grilling with one hand, squirting the garden hose on us with the other hand. We were happy, man.
Yeah, and back then there was no social media, no cell phones, so you didn't feel like you had to keep up with the world. You were just back in the backyard having fun.
People will say to me now, "Have you ever tried like mushrooms on the grill?" I'm like, "Come on, man." Listen, I'll put the mushrooms in one hand and slap them on the burger. I mean, every once in a while, my dad later in life, God rest his soul, he loved it. This was his holiday. He wanted his kids there, his grandkids there. This was his holiday. And he'd break out a steak. Now, this is when I was in my 30s and 40s. Man, that was like prime living. But I'd give anything just to go back, salt and pepper to taste, nice big burger that they were making with their hands. Who knew if they even washed them, threw them on the grill. Who wants a hamburger? Who wants a hot dog? And then, if you were real lucky, you had that big bag of Snyder's of Berlin chips, and some French onion dip. And I don't know, pickles, onions. Life was really simple back then, man.
Yeah, and I hope people really take advantage of this Memorial Day holiday and just, be with family, and really, really cherish the family members that you have that are still with us, and just think about family. For me, that was always the situation for Memorial Day because my dad would be out there, my mom, brother. Other friends from the neighborhood, we'd just be out there just playing. And the thing about grilling is, you got to wait a little bit to get your food.
Right.
So that wait, you can play a little catch, do whatever, catch
Badminton.
up on. Yeah. So, grilling, takes a little bit.
Listen,
So.
Rob, one of my delicacies as a kid, maybe I shouldn't be saying this because don't try it at home. We would eat raw hot dogs as kids. I mean, yeah, man. We just get out the bottle of ketchup, line it up, and it didn't even make it to the grill.
Oh.
It's baloney. That's all it is. It's the same thing. But I don't know. You realize the history, though. I was talking about watching FDR on Netflix, something that was on the History Channel, because I want people to understand, and, your parents are older, obviously, than mine. Believe it or not, my dad would have been 100 this coming October, and my mother just a couple of years behind him. But all these stories about the Great Depression, this and that, and what have you, and KDKA radio and, all the other major networks and how important radio was. But do you realize how important the Pittsburgh Courier was back during World War II?
Oh, yeah, of course. With the,
in the history, you being the managing editor, that's something to be really proud of, Rob.
Yeah, that Double V campaign that the Pittsburgh Courier had back in the early 40s. And for those who don't know what that was, the Double V campaign basically stood for, victory abroad and victory at home. So for African-American soldiers who were in the U.S. Army, it was all about, winning overseas, winning the war. But then when the African-American soldiers came back to the U.S., they wanted to have, basically the same, equality and rights.
Rightfully so.
At home. So, you're fighting for your country abroad. Let's have some of the same respect coming back in the U.S. So that was the Courier's Double V campaign.
Yeah, but I don't know. In the history of Pittsburgh, because of the steel industry and what we were able to do in Rosie the Riveter and stuff, I mean, it's kind of overwhelming. But then you think about this historic place, KDKA Radio, and what we were doing back in the day. It's, I don't know, it's kind of overwhelming to think about who we are and how we're still here doing this, meaning you and me, but how we continue to stand on the shoulders of these giants. And I can only imagine the Pittsburgh Courier and KDKA Radio really was the window to the world for people that were wondering what was happening over in Europe and in the Pacific Theater.
Yeah, and, every time what's good about holidays is, you always kind of remember, where you were, when it comes to certain holidays, such as Memorial Day. Every time I think of Memorial Day with my family, there were, just because we were such big sports fans, there was always an NBA, at least, when, in my younger days, there was always like an NBA game on either that Memorial Day Sunday, Memorial Day Monday, or either both days. And, we kind of throw that on as well in the afternoon. And I just remember Reggie Miller back in the day hitting
Indiana.
a big three-pointer It was like 27 years ago to win a game over the Bulls, and just being with mom and dad and just my brother and just.
Hey, you know what I'd like to see happen?
family.
I'd like to see, because the Knicks have won like 9 straight, something like that. That's my team. I love the Knicks. Jalen Brunson's been unbelievable. 2 national championships at Villanova. And if he wins this, he's going to be, I think, Bernard King, Walt Frazier. There's a lot of them, Willis Reed, but he'll probably go down as the greatest Knick of all time. But I would love, just out of the clear blue, you know how they pan Madison Square Garden, if Reggie Miller would sit down next to Spike Lee. Man, that would be worth, because Spike Lee's the biggest Knicks fan
Right.
going. And Reggie and him used to jaw at each other. Reggie Miller was he was Indiana's version of Larry Bird. He was a great trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Reggie Miller. And his sister Cheryl, when I think of the WNBA and Caitlin Clark, she really was the one that put women's basketball on the map.
And speaking of the WNBA, this is I think this is their 30th season. I was reading. Obviously, it started in '97, so this is their 30th year, and they just had leaps and bounds and making such an impact across this country and the world in women's sports. So shout out to the WNBA as well.
Absolutely. And why can't we get a franchise in Pittsburgh?
I know.
I mean, come on, man.
We can do it.
Listen, I'll become an usher when I retire. I'll just sell beer at PBG Paints Arena. Beer here. Get your beer here. I honestly, I think it would be really welcomed in Western Pennsylvania.
Like I said, Pittsburgh is a sports town, man. Hey, we welcome the Riverhounds.
Listen, if
they won a national championship.
Caitlin Clark, Indiana, Sophie Cunningham, they come to Pittsburgh, PPG,
Packed.
It's sold out.
Sold out. No question about it.
All right, good stuff, Rob.
0.
All right, man. Jane, Bishop, Eli, call back, brother. I just got a little long-winded there with Rob, but I got to check in with my news anchor. I'll put you first up. You call back. I hate when people they're like, come on, Pratt, would you get to the phones? So, look, it's the holiday weekend. I got a lot of moving parts here, but Eli, feel free to call back. 866-391-1020. Coming back, take your calls till 7 o'clock today, KDKA.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bubba Chandler struck out 11, but the Pirates had 3 crucial errors and lost to Toronto 6-2. 2 teams again today in Canada, 3:05 first pitch, 93.7 The Fan. Number 14 Pitt continues to impress at the ACC tournament. They beat the number 3 seed Florida State Seminoles 8-6 yesterday. It's the semifinal matchup today against North Carolina, first pitch at 3. On the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights over Colorado. They scored 3 in the third, the final 3-1. They're up 2-0. And OKC defeated the San Antonio Spurs 123-108. The defending NBA champs are up in that series 2-1. Byron Nelson tournament through 2 rounds. Siwoo Kim is at 18 under. He has a 5-shot lead. More sports at 937thefan.com.
When sinusitis has your nose constantly blocked, life can feel smaller. You're stuck breathing through your mouth, which leads to sleep struggles, snoring that keeps your whole family up, fatigue, and more. The mornings start groggy, the days drag on, and it feels like nothing really helps for long. At Pittsburgh Sinus Centers, relief isn't just one size fits all. Their specialists use a wide range of innovative in-office treatments designed around you, designed to open your sinuses, restore natural breathing, and help you finally sleep through the night. You don't have to keep pushing through. If you're tired of the congestion, the pressure, and the endless cycle of sprays and pills that aren't providing relief, discover a treatment option that works for you at Pittsburgh Sinus Centers. Breathe easier, sleep better, and start feeling like yourself again. Schedule a consultation today. Call Pittsburgh Sinus Centers, 878-231-6036. 878-231-6036. That's 878-231-6036.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to start thinking like Wall Street without leaving Main Street? Tune in Sunday mornings at 6:30 for a slice of advice with Kelton Burgess. Right here on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
You know, I just really think that we need to teach more about what happened in our country, that it's not so far back. I think sometimes we get caught up, obviously, in the Revolutionary War, and there'll be a lot because of the 250th coming up. And the Civil War, obviously, big ticket item. But I think we need to really teach our children 20th century, meaning stuff that happened in the 20th century, World War I, World War II, because that's where really the grit came from. A lot of folks in that First World War were immigrants who came here, who became citizens and actually went back to fight against the country they were from because they believed in this country. And the sacrifices that were made. Look, people didn't have all of the wonders that we have today. I mean, they didn't have automobiles in the beginning, didn't have running water the way we have it today, didn't have proper sewer systems, didn't have electricity. I mean, but they plowed through it all. And they found a way to succeed, but they always gave back to their country. 866-391-1020. Here's Jane in Squirrel Hill on KDK. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning, Rob, and happy Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you.
I called for one reason specifically. It was Kenny was talking about the measles. I was born in 58, and I received an MMR vaccine that was later proven to be ineffective. So I think there are a lot of people out there who need to be boosted or get another inoculation. I had read about it in the paper about 2 or 3 years ago. So I went into my PCP and she checked, I guess they checked her titers to see what your immunity's like, and I was given another boost. So I think people of our age are particularly susceptible to the measles. Since there is an outbreak, better make sure that they are inoculated against the disease.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, though, when you think about where we are and why so many people, I don't know if it happened because of COVID, but I mean, I hear people come up to me and say, I don't believe with what you're saying is right on the radio. I would never I have so many symptoms. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I have this, I have that, and I blame it all on that COVID vaccine. I don't know. All I know is I saw how my friend died literally within 2 weeks, my same age, and that frightened me to the point I'd already gotten them, but I would have gotten them anyway. And if it does have some prolonged effect down the road, and if I was able to survive a couple of more years and get through that pandemic in which I saw people dying every day, and I was sealed up in my house that I couldn't even see my own kids for years, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it, and I'd do it all over again.
Well, I'm of the opposite position. I'm sorry I did it.
No, that's okay.
And, I followed the information there, and because the MMR vaccines had never been used before, and they had not been proven, I elected to get the Johnson & Johnson shot because it was more of the traditional vaccine vector. And that was a one shot and you were done. There were no boosters or anything else. I think the people who had problems with this have problems because of the actual technology that was employed there. I'm not a medical professional, but based on what I've read, I would not have taken that vaccine. And then you see the controversy afterwards about the effectiveness of the vaccine. There was none. The effectiveness of things like Paxlovid, not very effective. The people who had the disease and then used their antibodies, that was what was most effective and in treating people who got sick. And, I don't know. I believe that America has a great medical system, but I also believe it was better 25, 35 years ago because the people who practiced medicine weren't actually in it for whatever glory and money they could make. It was more of a scientific endeavor. But, you read about these pharmaceutical companies and putting people on these drugs and things. But I don't want to get into all of that.
Listen, I respect your opinion. I highly respect your opinion. But I think when it comes to children, for things like the measles and polio and that, I mean, polio's even on the rise. I don't think that they really have the final say because obviously they're children. And I just think you have to do everything possible to make sure your children are healthy. That's just my
thought. But when you have mass immigration, as Ken said, and the man from Plumboro, and you do not vet these people, you are going to get these diseases. And as a public, we should be concerned. We shouldn't be so docile, and we shouldn't be apt to just say, oh, this is fine. No, it's not fine. When my ancestors came through Ellis Island, they were checked, and everybody was checked because we want to protect the population, number one. And number two, you also have people who, for religious reasons, don't get vaccinated. And so among Orthodox Jews in, like, New York City, you had little outbreaks. The Amish, you have little outbreaks. But these constituencies in these communities know the risk, and they have dealt with these risks. I think also in public school systems, you must require vaccinations to go to school. If you don't want to be vaccinated, keep your child home and use the cyber system.
So do you actually think this immigration is one of the reasons why we have such ill health in this country?
I
It's
think
a good point. It's a good point.
Over the last, I'd say, 20 years, we let anybody who wanted to come here. And I actually believe the people who work in the government aren't the brightest bulbs in the bunch, and nor are they very grateful and happy that they have their jobs. And I think they're looking the other way, especially when you look at the CDL licensed drivers that are coming here from illegally from other countries, and all of a sudden they're driving tractor trailers, and they can't read English, and there are these horrific accidents where people are losing their lives. Come on.
Hey, how about, listen, so
happen.
I look up at the television while you're talking, and how about the story about the global outbreak of Ebola? So there's...
Ebola happens in the Congo all the time. That disease happens like twice a year, 3 times a year. They have an outbreak.
Ebola, what is it exactly again?
It's like some bleeding virus that once you get it, you die because the blood comes out everywhere.
Oh, geez. Anyway, I got 30 seconds. All yours. Go ahead.
Oh, well, my father signed up for the Navy at 16. My uncle was I had 2 uncles in the Marines, and luckily they all came home. And I say we owe a great deal to this great generation.
Everything. Hey, good stuff, Jane. Thanks. Yeah, we're talking about the greatest generation. A lot of it has to do because of this documentary that I saw on Netflix that was once aired on the History Channel about FDR. And maybe the greatest president did more than any president, maybe any president ever will. And he saved our country from becoming a communist country. And he also started things like Social Security and the GI Bill. But what stories do you remember being told to you if you're a baby boomer? 866-391-1020.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
It is 51 degrees, Pittsburgh International at 6:30. I'm Rob Taylor. This just into the KDKA Radio Newsroom. Police are investigating a deadly pedestrian crash in Chartiers Township, Washington County. Police say a person walking on Pike Street around 2 o'clock this morning was struck by a vehicle. That person has since died. Driver stayed on the scene. This incident is under investigation. Pittsburgh Public Safety says a man was slashed with brass knuckles during a fight in Market Square downtown. This happened around 8:30 Friday night along Graham Street downtown. A man broke out brass knuckles, slashed the other person, according to Pittsburgh Public Safety spokesperson. Police quickly took the alleged suspect into custody. The person who was slashed was taken to a hospital in stable condition. Well, a Wilkinsburg man on Friday was indicted by a federal grand jury in Pittsburgh on charges of influencing, impeding, or retaliating against a federal official or federal law enforcement officer by threat. Federal officials say 40-year-old Raymond Chandler III repeatedly called members of Congress and left threatening voicemails, including that he would kill a Congressmember and the Congressmember's daughter, along with President Trump. Officials say the voicemails occurred between April of last year and May 1st of this year. Now, Chandler faces up to 10 years in prison for each of the 5 counts, along with a fine of up to $250,000 for each count. Well, if you were planning to head to Sandcastle Water Park today on this Memorial Day weekend, it will not open today. Sandcastle announced that due to unseasonably cold temperatures, the park will open on Sunday instead of today. If you have a Sandcastle 2026 season pass, you can visit Kennywood today for free. If you have a one-day ticket for Sandcastle for today, it will be valid at the park for any other day this season. Well, various organizations will come together today for a community outreach event providing vital services to veterans and others experiencing homelessness. And News Radio KDK's Pat Septak has the story.
It's called Bridge to Hope, an event hosted by the Disabled American Center's Chapter 76 to provide hope for individuals who are homeless or struggling financially. Leaders from the county, the VA Medical Center, and other organizations will be donating their time and resources to help those who are in need. Dr. Theron White says many community services will be available.
And we have individuals who are giving out free haircuts, or we're going to have hot food. We'll have a food bank there as well, so they can get any groceries they need. We'll have a clothing bank. They can get any clothing they need. We'll have educational assistance, hygiene products.
Today's event is being held at the Shepherd's Heart Veterans Home located on Pride Street from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And he promises no one will be turned away. Pat Septak, News Radio KDKA.
KDKA Radio News Time, 6:33. The AccuWeather forecast coming up.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da!
If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with auto pay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It is going to be a cloudy and cool day with rain at times, high just 63. Rain continues into the overnight hours with a low down to 56. It'll be a little warmer tomorrow despite plenty of clouds and a couple of showers with a high up to 76. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Rindy, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Tuesday on the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. We will take you to Dublin, Ireland. Find out why.
All right, 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. Open talk until 7 o'clock. Then Dr. Don Spalla is here. Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine. That is coming up. So stay right where you are. Lots of great Pittsburgh Works programming today. And then again, we'll have a bonus hour to continue our open talk in the noon hour today. Let's go to Bishop, who has been very patient in Denora, waiting to talk. Good morning, Bishop. How are you? Hello, Bishop. Bishop is not there. Okay, Bishop, if you want to call back, feel free. So let me just kind of take you through this timeline, if I can. Some of the things that I witnessed while watching this FDR documentary. Here's a guy that's born into wealth and related to Teddy Roosevelt, actually married Eleanor, 5th cousin removed, and she really became the rock of that administration. This is what's so mind-boggling. So he had this so-called affair. Nobody actually has ever been able to prove it. Obviously, we didn't have TMZ and the National Enquirer and all of these tabloid aspects of journalism back in the day. And most people who sat in the Oval Office, even though they were human and made mistakes, out of sight, out of mind. And, you know, people wouldn't have never believed it, nor did it ever get reported. But his wife stayed with him. Obviously, they had 5 children. The 3 boys ended up serving in World War II. So it was strange, but there was a deep love there, especially later in life when his body started to break down and he had congestive heart failure, and he eventually would die in his early 60s at Warm Springs, Georgia, on that April 12th, 1945 date that I was telling you about. But here's what amazes me about Eleanor Roosevelt that absolutely just is mind-boggling when you think about it. She would be on the road promoting his administration, helping him, talking about his legacy, what he was trying to do. 200 days a year. I mean, think about that. She was on the road so much that when he was out campaigning, he caught a really severe case of, the flu, because it was pouring down rain and he would ride around in these open-aired cars and nobody expected it to be that cold and that much rain. But instead of going right back to Washington, he had a speech later that night at the Waldorf Astoria. So he went to her apartment in New York, where she kind of comforted him and took care of him a little bit. But she basically lived in New York pretty much full time, had this apartment that was fully filled with pictures and memorabilia, as though she would have in her own house, which should be the White House, right, or Warm Springs. But she lived estranged from him. But what a rock this woman was, knowing that your husband there was infidelity involved and all the things that were going on in her heart of hearts, because when, he got polio years earlier, she basically was there with him round the clock. I mean, imagine this barrel-chested, very virile man with this booming voice who was starting to make his way and follow in the footsteps of his relative Teddy Roosevelt, and then all of a sudden, it was gone. His ability to walk, his ability to communicate, the aspect of him being larger than life was gone. And the threat of him not being able to achieve his goal. Look, he wanted to be Secretary of Navy, like his Uncle Teddy. He wanted to be in the state legislature. He eventually would become governor, just like Ted. Did everything just like him perfectly. Wore glasses like him. And now that I know of the connection, when you look at FDR, some of the portraits, this and that, other than the mustache, you would have swore you were looking at Teddy Roosevelt. But he mimicked him every step of the way. Had 5 children. Teddy Roosevelt, same thing. But it was Eleanor Roosevelt, really, that I believe, that kept everything together. She was about women's right to vote. She was against, how blacks were being treated in the South. I mean, did so many things that were so ahead of her time. She, whenever would hold some sort of speaking engagement or do some radio address, she demanded that all the newspapers and various media outlets would send female reporters. She was incredible. So the thing that I think a lot of you, why you need to watch this, and the reason why I'm bringing up this part of our country's history as we salute Memorial Day weekend, because we need to remember the greatest generation now that pretty much all of them are gone. I mean, you have a handful here or there, but to have actually fought in the war and served were the wives back here or the women back here, such as Rosie the Riveter, working in the factories, building the machine that eventually led us to victory when many thought it was impossible. In the first couple of years in both the Pacific Theater and the European Theater, it didn't go very well for us. It really didn't. But as I was watching this, I started to say to myself, yeah, he created this and this, the New Deal and all the things that he did coming, through the Depression and getting people going again and building things. And, that's when the growth of the country, the highways and the skyscrapers and all of that, he basically spent government money to get people to work and eventually got America moving again. And the economy was really starting to boom. And then in 1939, Hitler basically was giving Germany a new lease on life, and a lot of people in America were listening and watching because they saw that they weren't in a depression and they were making money and people were getting paychecks, because in the United States, that wasn't the case. People were actually starving in America. And it was just horrible what was happening. But he found a way, but he was able to do all of this legislation, all of the things. In the first 100 days of his time in the White House, never before, or probably never again, will there be so much legislation that got passed and so many good things that really jump-started this country that we still lean on to this day. I mean, there was a time in this country's history, people 65 and over made up a large percentage of the homeless and poverty-stricken people in this country. But with one stroke of the pen and his ability to get Social Security passed, that ended right away. And those people were basically pulled out of the abyss and basically put upright again and had the ability with his income that FDR was responsible for to give them a place in America after they had worked their entire life. And the life expectancy back then was maybe mid-70s, right? So at least those last 10 years, instead of doing backbreaking work and having to go out there every day to fight for a buck, he gave them that. And that also put cash into the economy. The guy was absolutely brilliant. You know, we could not sell or give weapons to Britain when Germany was literally, just inches away from getting into the UK and overtaking UK as they were storming through Europe, taking, everyone, including France. And the fighting in North Africa and all this stuff was happening. And then until Hitler got detracted and went into Russia during the winter, which was a huge mistake, they were rolling. But how he did it, he said to Winston Churchill, "We will lend you these weapons." He was so smart. He found a way, a loophole in everything to get things done that in essence saved the world from Nazi Germany, because they would have never stopped. And he knew that. When he would be listening to these speeches and seeing how Hitler was basically taking over Germany, he knew that once they were done in Europe, he was asked by one of the members of administration, "So what happens after that?" And FDR looked at him and said, "We're next." So what these people were doing changed everything in our country's history. But Eleanor Roosevelt, like any man, that strong woman, was the one that was not only helping him and sacrificed her own happiness living in that marriage that she really wanted out of, and spent 200 days on the road promoting him, FDR, his administration, giving him sage advice, kind of being his eyes and ears out amongst the people throughout the country, and she would report back to him. So he at all times knew what the country was thinking, and he could basically win them over by these fireside chats that he would give on the radio. And he was a great speech maker. But then you think of him and what he went through with polio and how it was even difficult for him because he didn't want people to see him bound to a wheelchair. But then it got to the point in the final few years of his life that he put his personal ego aside because he knew that the country needed him. And obviously he saw what happened with the end of World War II, but didn't get a chance to basically enjoy the fruits of the labor of the country because he died before the soldiers started coming back. Believe it or not, many of those soldiers never got back to America until like 1946 and 47. But he picked once again the right vice president, had 3 different ones, but the last one was Harry Truman. And if it wasn't for Harry Truman and the atom bomb, millions more would have died. And it was horrific. I mean, absolutely disgusting to think about what the atom bomb did to the Japanese people, but it saved millions of lives. And wouldn't it be nice all these years later if those 2 gentlemen and others could see the partnerships with the great country of Japan and where we have come and what we have done? But more importantly, how sad is it that after all of that we went through, we're dealing with poverty in America today. We're dealing with disease in America today. We're dealing with drug addiction, and we're dealing with crime, and we have a massive war happening in Ukraine. It's sad because so many things have been giving us an opportunity to take a giant step into the future, but we have stepped back so many times when we've had a chance to have that leap of faith, but only to retreat. That's why the story of the greatest generation this Memorial Day weekend has never been more important. Because as I have said, and it is written, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. I just don't know if we have the grit that they had to survive it. 866-391-1020.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com. News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bubba Chandler struck out 11, but the Pirates had 3 crucial errors and lost to Toronto 6-2. 2 teams again today in Canada, 3:05 first pitch, 93.7 The Fan. Number 14 Pitt continues to impress at the ACC tournament. They beat the number 3 seed Florida State Seminoles 8-6 yesterday. It's the semifinal matchup today against North Carolina, first pitch at 3. On the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights over Colorado. They scored 3 in the third, the final 3-1. They're up 2-0. And OKC defeated the San Antonio Spurs 123-108. The defending NBA champs are up in that series 2-1. Byron Nelson tournament through 2 rounds. Siwoo Kim is at 18 under. He has a 5-shot lead. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Pittsburgh, we've got a problem. Home care is in crisis and there aren't enough caregivers to meet the demand. So if you've got a loved one with Medicaid and needs care, don't wait. Freedom Care was built for this moment. We help you get care at home from someone you already trust. A family member or friend who can get paid to help with everyday needs like meals, medication, bathing, and mobility. If you have Medicaid, it's 100% free to you. No waiting lists. Just real care from your people right now. Freedom Care handles it all. Training, payroll, and support. So you can stay safe and comfortable at home and your caregiver gets paid after every shift guaranteed. With 97% satisfaction and over 150 million hours of care delivered, Pittsburgh families are already making the switch to care at home. Take care of your own and get paid with Freedom Care. Call 412-844-5990. That's 412-844-5990. Call now, 412-844-5990. 412-844-5990.
Freedom Care, we're here for
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know, here's the other thing as we continue to pay tribute to the greatest generation this Memorial Day weekend because of this. And if you haven't seen it, if you can carve out a couple of hours this weekend, it looks as though Mother Nature is going to be sending us a lot of H2O the next couple of days. So good excuse to get into the house and kick back and, go to Netflix and, gather the kids, the grandkids, if they're old enough to comprehend, because it'll put it in perspective. You'll understand why the chosen few, those greatest generation that gave us this opportunity to have this place that we call America to our very own future. That's right. Not just for me, but to your children and grandchildren. Our own future really is all because of what those men and women did all those decades ago. And the one thing that I find absolutely fascinating, because there are a lot of amazing young people today, and when you work with a lot of young people, as I do in this industry, many of my producers are my children's age, you really get a sense of, hey, there's a lot of good things happening as far as the future is concerned. But what amazes me about every time I go back, whether it's Saving Private Ryan at a motion picture that I absolutely to this day, when I first saw it in 1998, the opening sequence as far as Normandy and the invasion, as far as D-Day is concerned, June 6, 1944, maybe some of the best ever as far as cinematography is concerned and how it holds up all these years later. And if you haven't seen it, it's absolutely mind-boggling that Steven Spielberg had the thought process even back then, before all the modern technology that we have today, especially in the motion picture industry, that he was able to do that. But one of the reasons was he talked about growing up a child of the greatest generation, and there were certain television shows that we watched as kids, one called Combat, which starred Vic Morrow on ABC, that was on for 5 years until 1967. But it was a lot of that camera work that they did, which was ahead of its time, that he basically, fast forward, did the same type of camera work, which gave it that intimate look, right? I mean, it really was mind-boggling how I felt seeing that in a movie theater for the very first time. But anyway, what blows me away is the fact these old newsreels and things of that nature, and I think about my own father who was 17 and found a loophole with his birth certificate to actually get into the Navy. My dad wasn't even 18 years old, and he had never left Rochester, Pennsylvania. And honestly, when he came back just a few years later, he never really left Rochester again. But here's a guy that grew up in a household with 8 siblings, mom and dad, little house, cracker box house, matchbox house, Pennsylvania Avenue in Rochester. At 17, doesn't even graduate from high school, goes and finds a way to get into the Navy, and within literally months, he goes from Rochester to Michigan to the South Pacific. And 2 years of his life, that was it. My dad went in late during the war. The war was over. He got back home, went right to work, and he got married. My mother was 20. He was 22. By the time he was 29, he had 6 kids. He worked 41 years, and sadly, he died at the age of 73 from years of smoking and working in an environment that wasn't very healthy. But what I'm saying is, those 2 years, even though it was wartime, and he talked about being on a ship in the Pacific, and their job was, if the bombs did not work, they would have to go in. But my dad, as bad as it was, as frightening as it was, as all the emotions that he went through throughout his entire life, this holiday was his most important because he understood sacrifice in those who didn't come home. But for a man who lived 73 years, raised kids, did a lot, self-educated, went back, got the degree, did all these little things, went into management in his company, very smart man, all of it came down to he loved his children, loved his wife, but those 2 years in the military. And he never lost sight of it. And he would take us to these cemeteries over Memorial Day, and we would weed and do things, and he would kind of give us a little history lesson. We need more of that today. And the greatest generation in this documentary about FDR, who did so much to help our country, I think would be perfect for the world and the era that we're living in. And if you only help one or two understand in your family the sacrifice, and maybe they approach life moving forward a little differently. I mean, think about it. We had 150,000 members in the military. After Pearl Harbor, within days, there were 12 million. And there were young men like my father. These men, some weren't even old enough to shave yet, but they felt it was their duty to serve this country. So it's an amazing documentary, and that's the amazing greatest generation. And I want to focus on them this weekend. We'll do a little bit more today in the noon hour, and then all weekend and right through Monday night when I'm on 5 to 10 from Memorial Day. All right, stay with us. Rob's got the news at 7. Then Dr. Don Spalla is here. They do amazing things. Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine, 8 o'clock, Best of Edition. Brian Carent, Secure Money Advisors. MediConnect is here today. True Value, busiest home improvement weekend of the year. And AAA Central is talking travel. Millions of people getting ready to travel this holiday weekend and this vacation season. Stay with us. Your Pratt Pack, KDKA. Good morning.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Get everything you need for the entire job delivered. From lumber to drywall, flooring, and fixtures, get it all delivered from the Home Depot. With same day, next day, or any day delivery, staying on track and on time is crucial to your job. That's why it's our job to get you what you need when you need it. We deliver the supplies. You deliver the results. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
Shopping for replacement windows? Metropolitan Window Company elevates your shopping experience.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, Pittsburgh's locally owned and family-operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you'll experience personalized knowledge, expertise, and professionalism from our first visit to your home until our craftsmen complete your installation.
We're the window company that people want in their homes, and our exclusive Infinity by Marvin 100% fiberglass windows are the windows people love.
They're built for life. They are the strongest, longest-lasting windows you can buy.
And we have a great selection of colors and finishes. Experience Metropolitan Window Company. Stop by our showrooms, visit us at metropolitanwindows.com, or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Hi, Paul Alexander here to let you know that KDKA has planned a fabulous 5-day Arizona getaway this September, and it's filling up fast. My wife, Shelley, and I want you to join us for an unforgettable trip based in beautiful Flagstaff, a relaxed mountain town that makes the perfect home base. From there, we'll explore the incredible red rocks of Sedona, travel by rail to the breathtaking Grand Canyon, a bucket list spot that everyone needs to see at least once. And then we'll take in the stunning scenery around Lake Powell with its deep blue water and wide open views. It's the perfect mix of sightseeing, natural beauty, and plenty of time to just enjoy where we are. And September is truly the sweet spot. Comfortable weather, no summer crowds, and everything planned for you. No guessing, no stress. Just show up and enjoy Arizona. Space is limited. Seats are disappearing quickly. Visit travelwithkdk.com or call 800-383-3131. Again, travelwithkdk.com or call 800-383-3131. Can't wait to see you there.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 51 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. Police are investigating this morning after a deadly pedestrian crash in Chartiers Township, Washington County. Police say a person who was walking on Pike Street around 2 o'clock this morning was struck by a vehicle. That person has died. The driver stayed on the scene. Right now, this incident is under investigation. In Market Square downtown Friday night, Pittsburgh Public Safety says a person was slashed with brass knuckles during a fight. It happened around 8:30 Friday night on Graham Street. A man broke out brass knuckles and slashed the victim, according to a public safety spokesperson. Police took the alleged suspect into custody quickly. A person who was slashed was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Well, it's a good news, bad news situation when we're talking about prices at the pump for this Memorial Day weekend. Drivers are definitely paying more as of late, but GasBuddy.com's Patrick DeHaan has been following the fluctuations and tells us what to expect when we fill up this weekend.
Americans this Memorial Day are going to be shelling out roughly $2 billion more over the 4-day holiday weekend. That's certainly a significant sum. A little bit of last-minute good news. The national average starting to tick a little bit lower. Gas Buddy Live data finding the national average down 3 cents today. That's a trend that will continue. Gas prices will decline through the weekend before potentially jumping again early next week.
And right now in Pennsylvania, the average price for a gallon of gas is $4.62. In Allegheny County, $4.83, the average per gallon. If you're planning to head to Sandcastle today on this Memorial Day weekend, it's not open today. Sandcastle announced that due to unseasonably cold temperatures, the park will open on Sunday instead of today. If you have a Sandcastle 2026 season pass, you can visit Kennywood today for free instead. And if you have a one-day ticket for Sandcastle for today, it will be valid at the park for any other day this season. And the Ligonier Country Market is back in service starting today for its 50th season. It's in a new location this year. It'll be held on Ligonier Street instead of the Loyalhanna Watershed Association. Market will be open from 8 a.m. until noon every Saturday this summer, except for June 6th, July 4th, and August 22nd. And the market brings around 60 to 70,000 visitors to the area each year. KDK Radio News Time at 7:03. AccuWeather forecast coming up.
In Pittsburgh, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 25 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Pittsburgh. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
when Parkinson's gets real, find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Ms. Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It is going to be cloudy and cool today with occasional rain and drizzle, high up to 63. Still a bit of rain around tonight with a low down to 56. Cloudy and warmer tomorrow with a couple of showers, high 76. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Rindy, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
This Memorial Day weekend will be a time for travel, a time for family gatherings at cookouts, and a time to relax. But this weekend is more than that. Memorial Day is a federal holiday to honor American personnel who died while serving in the armed forces. It is a day for visiting cemeteries and memorials for the 1.3 million service members who died in the line of duty. At least 13 service members have died during Operation Epic Fury in Iran. This weekend, we ask that you pay tribute to those who have sacrificed their lives to keep our lives safe and free. This is the time to put aside your political differences and remember those who have died in combat so we can continue to be the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
The following is paid for by Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine. Information on the program is intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information aired on the following program.
These are the people, the movers and shakers, the businesses, the people you know in your community who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, Dr. Dawn Spalla is here, Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine. It is great to have her back in the building, and we are weeks away. This is the big weekend. It's the holiday to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice. But coming up in a few weeks, another big milestone in our country's history, the 250th birthday. And to help everyone celebrate and do it pain-free, this is what they're going to do for you. Incredible. From the Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine. Go ahead.
Good morning. This is the first time we've offered this. Today, we're going to be offering a free consultation. Whether that consultation is because of chronic back pain or neuropathy, with that free consultation, you're going to get a $250 voucher that goes towards your first treatment for getting you pain-free and getting back to life.
Yeah, and
happy birthday, America.
I hope people take advantage of it. We have a lot to get to, but I do want to just bring up your mom had a bit of a setback and she's doing better, but I just wanted everybody to know who's been following on social media that we continue to keep her in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Nice, wonderful lady, and we do wish her a speedy recovery. So what's the latest? What's been happening in your life?
Oh.
A lot.
Life always throws you. God never gives you anything more than what you can handle, right?
I don't know. There's been times it's gotten a little heavy.
If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. There's so much of my dad in that saying. Lots of cool things, some new additions to the practice, some new services that we're going to be adding. We have our beautiful office in Natrona Heights. We've been there for about 6 months, but it's literally state-of-the-art, comfortable, big, open office where people can come and feel comfortable and heal in. We've got our neuropathy program and people saying that they're noticing changes every single day. I don't know, shout out to Joan. Joan told me that she sets her alarm clock to wake up to KDKA radio. So the one morning I woke her up with my voice talking. So if you're listening, Joan, saying hello, I told you I'd say hello the last time I saw you. But yeah, just, everything that my mom's been going through in recovery and not taking our health for granted and figuring out what we can do to help you live life and not miss out. And that's why I'm here.
And so we're going to be talking about what they're doing with the laser, what they're doing with neuropathy, how they're getting amazing results. But as we always do, there's always that first-time listener. Tell everybody about what you do, you and your husband and others at the Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine locations.
Yeah, so I am a chiropractor. My husband is a chiropractor. We have 2 other amazing doctors on our staff, Dr. MJ and Dr. Zach. And we all have a specialty in neuropathy. And so with that specialty, treating low back pain patients for a really long time, seeing a lot of patients with neuropathy, and seeing just how even with modern medicine, quote, treatments, they're still suffering. Exploring our options for other forms of treatment. We have been treating patients with laser therapy for about the past 2 years, and we've been getting amazing results with that. And so with chiropractic, with laser therapy, with treating neuropathy, we have offices in Natrona Heights and Sarver to help patients overcome those debilitating symptoms of what they're kind of told they have to live with for a lifetime.
One of the things that my generation experiences, and your mom, we're in that same age category, baby boomers, is this balance thing. I was talking to a friend yesterday who's a couple of months younger than me, And I said, how are you feeling? He said, good. He said, but my balance is kind of off a little bit. So right away I jump in because of doing a show like this. And I bet the majority of people who deal with balance issues, especially at my age, it's got to be connected. It's safe to say over half to neuropathy.
Yeah. Balance is one of the number one things that we see starting to decline in patients with neuropathy. You know, we can go over what exactly is neuropathy and how it starts, but balance is one of those things that can definitely, and most of the time usually is affected. And it's not like you wake up one morning and it just hits you that your balance is decreased, right? It's very slow and it's over time where one day you know, feel a little bit unsteady on your feet. And then, 6-7 months later, you're like, oh, wow, I'm thinking about needing a cane, or I'm thinking about needing a walker. You have to hold onto the wall as you go throughout the house. That's not a normal progression. It's not an age-related progression. Balance comes from little sensors in our joints and in our nerves that tell you where you are in space. Neurologically, if we're not getting that feedback, we start to get a decline in balance. And balance is a learned behavior, right? You're a baby and you can't walk, and they stand up and they fall down. That's how we learn our balance in the beginning. But as we age, if we don't practice the art of balance, we can slowly lose it or decline. And neuropathy plays a role where we lose that ability even quicker. The medications that are used right now for neuropathy do nothing for balance. So one of our priorities for neuropathy patients is to really help them retrain their balance and help them gain back that function.
We are going to get into exactly what is neuropathy and all of the things that people go through. And in many cases, when it gets to that point, the pain obviously is one thing, but the inability to go out and function day to day, little things that really make a big difference in someone's life are taken from them. So she's here with another opportunity for you to be a part of what they do. And please tell them about what you're doing to help celebrate 250 and how they can reach you.
Yeah, so it's only today. A $250 voucher comes with your free consultation, and a free consultation is only scheduled when you call today. So first thing, you can text 724-224-2224 to claim that voucher. Number 2, let me give you a phone number on our next segment because my assistant at my office just told me our power's out. So we're on the fly this morning. So first thing, text, and then I'll get you a phone number here in a couple minutes.
What's the text number again?
724-224-2224.
All right, there you go. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. Just underway, Dr. Dawn Spaller for her monthly visit, Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bubba Chandler struck out 11, but the Pirates had 3 crucial errors and lost to Toronto 6-2. 2 teams again today in Canada, 3:05 first pitch, 93.7 The Fan. Number 14 Pitt continues to impress at the ACC tournament. They beat the number 3 seed Florida State Seminoles 8-6 yesterday. It's the semifinal matchup today against North Carolina, first pitch at 3. On the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights over Colorado. They scored 3 in the third, the final 3-1. They're up 2-0. And OKC defeated the San Antonio Spurs 123-108. The defending NBA champs are up in that series 2-1. Byron Nelson tournament through 2 rounds. Siwoo Kim is at 18 under. He has a 5-shot lead. More sports at 937thefan.com.
I love a girls' weekend, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin, thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
You can usually find me in the kitchen, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm still in the mix with Skyrizi to treat my joint symptoms.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe at 4 months.
Or if you're an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The certified elder law attorneys at Julian Gray Associates understand the rules of long-term care and disability. They help families avoid mistakes and protect assets to maintain the best lifestyle options. You don't have to do this alone. Visit grayelderlaw.com.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, back, and here's a $250 voucher as we get ready to celebrate our 250. And look, they give you that free consultation. It's not a cup of coffee and in 5 minutes, hello and so long. You either have neuropathy or you don't. They really drill down and they spend a lot of time with you, and you do get more than the once over. So 724-224-2224. That's the number you can text if you want to get in on that $250 free voucher, kind of as we celebrate in just a few weeks the 250th birthday of the United States of America. So she's going to give you another number once they get that number. But in the meantime, let's begin. What is neuropathy, Dr. Dawn?
So, neuropathy is a disease of the peripheral nervous system. So we have nerves. Our nervous system controls everything, right? Our peripheral nervous system are the nerves that leave our spine and go to our fingers and our toes. And typically, a lot of people more commonly start to feel the symptoms in their toes versus their hands. But what happens is those nerves start to slowly become dormant. Big mistaken factor is that those nerves are not dying, okay? But they're starting to become dormant, either from lack of blood flow, lack of nutrition, or some other disease process that is causing them not to function, okay? And these nerves live deep inside your tissue, so inside your muscles and along your bones, and so they're very difficult to get to. Neuropathy is a progressive disorder. So there is no doubt that for most people, neuropathy will continue to get worse as they age if nothing is done. So what we've done in my 14, almost 15 years of practice and seeing a lot of people with neuropathy, my husband and I were like, we need to find something that's effective. We need to find something that is going to get patients results, because here's the truth about it, is that there's always a time and a place for medical intervention. Okay, there's always a time and a place for medical intervention. But if you look at neuropathy, there's no injection, there's no surgery, there's only pills, there's only medications that have been approved for the treatment of neuropathy. Now I say, quote, approved, because those medications are typically anti-seizure, antipsychotic meds, okay? Gabapentin, Neurontin, Cymbalta, and Lyrica. So those 4 medications are what's approved for the treatment of neuropathy. And they only work on the pain center in the brain, okay? They cover up kind of our sensors in our brain to make us perceive that we're not having as much pain or tingling or numbness or fiery symptoms that are going on in our hands and our feet.
And they're not a cure.
It is not a cure. Most of the time over the progression of neuropathy, those medications have to be adjusted and increased over time until you reach the maximum dosage. And then it's a good luck. It's a, well, where you got to live with it, right? I know that there's people out there right now who have been given those options. You either take this or you live with it, or you're at your maximum dose. So you just got to manage it from there.
And there are people that are on these for years.
Yes. And one of the most recent studies with gabapentin shows that either the longer that you're on that medication or the more kind of individual prescriptions you've had throughout your lifetime, it also increases your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. So if you're in your 60s and your 70s, there's probably already a slight worry back there about dementia and Alzheimer's. And those medications, again, there's a time and a place. I'm not anti-medicine, right? With those medications, we're looking at more side effects. We're looking at more risks. We're looking at more things that can be damaging in the long run versus an actual neuropathy program that uses laser, which is non-invasive. It looks like a flashlight that penetrates 8 centimeters into tissues to actually increase blood flow and get nutrition back to where it needs to be, to physically bring back function so that not only are we improving pain, we're improving the tingling, we're improving the numbness, but we're getting balance back. We're getting the ability to stand and walk on our feet back. We're getting the ability to sleep without our feet burning, right? It's a huge improvement for patients, and that's why I'm here to offer a free consultation and our voucher, because not a lot of people know that something exists out there that can be extremely beneficial to them.
What do you think separates you from a lot of people that are trying to figure it out?
Number one, we've done our research. When we look at the research of what has helped neuropathy to improve, laser therapy goes beyond red light therapy. It goes beyond acupuncture, acupressure. It goes beyond PT to actually get to the cause of the disease. Okay, so we are out there treating the cause, but we've spent many years and we've spent countless months training and looking at this research and developing our programs.
But when you think about chiropractic medicine, which I've been a fan of since I was a teenager, and my mother obviously before me, amazing results, and I still swear by it. It's all about holistic. It's about your body and the natural healing that your body can do if it gets a helping hand naturally. And when you get the blood flowing, again, it can cure a lot of things. But this laser that you talk about, you use it in many aspects of your practice because it works.
Every Major League Baseball team has a Class 4 laser in their locker room. A lot of professional sports teams have a Class 4 laser in their locker rooms because it helps with blood flow. It helps you to heal faster. It takes down inflammation, thereby taking down pain. And when we look at the research of laser therapy, study after study, laser therapy beats red light therapy in the outcomes for improving healing and doing it faster than red light. So I know there's some other different programs that are out there that offer red light, and I'm not saying that that's not beneficial, but take those benefits times 8 or times 10, and that's what you get from laser.
So when people come, and hopefully they take advantage of this $250 voucher kind of connected to our 250th birthday, you can text right now, 724-224-2224. This is more than a cup of coffee. You really drill down on this.
Your first consultation is about 60 to 90 minutes, where we do a full health history. We look at what medications you're taking. We go over orthopedic testing, neurological testing, sharp touch, light touch, vibration, balance. We check, is there any back pain? Has there been any traumas, to really get to the cause? Because we can look at a Band-Aid where we're just covering up a symptom, or we can actually do our best to get an official diagnosis, and then we can treat that cause. And I guarantee, I don't know, this makes me sound funny. I guarantee that you've never had a consultation / examination like we do in our office.
Listen, I have a hard time making eye contact with her. She's so serious. I could imagine if you're in the examining room, she's going to ask you everything that she needs to know, and it may take you a little longer to get through the question and answer session, but in the end, you're going to be better for it. You got to give this opportunity right now on the table, an opportunity of hope. $250 free voucher, Allegheny Health Physical Medicine, as we get ready to celebrate our 250th birthday. And wouldn't you like to celebrate being able to walk to the picnic table, right, and feel pain-free? 724-224-2224. Text that number right now and say, I'm all in. 724-224-2224 is the number to dial. We'll be back with more with Dr. Dawn Spalla, Allegheny Health Physical Medicine, KDKA, in just a moment.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, rock star. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
What if you could buy a flippable, two-sided mattress made with the finest materials that cost less than other luxury brands? This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory, and this is exactly what you'll find with our new Orthos line, available exclusively at OMF. We build these by hand using premium materials like wool and cotton. It's old-world craftsmanship with modern comfort, our most extraordinary sleep system. Built locally at a price other luxury brands just can't match. Visit the Original Mattress Factory and experience the Orthos line for yourself.
Hello, this is Lester Botkin, Chief Investment Officer of Botkin Family Wealth Management, where I work with my dad, Les, and my sister, Sarah. We recently got a card in the mail from a person we don't know telling us how much she loves the American flags flying outside our office. It meant a lot to us. We lined the road in front of our building with flags to mark patriotic holidays, and last year we installed a towering flagpole with both the American and Marine Corps flags waving proudly, as I served 5 years in the Marines before returning to school to study economics. We honor America because we love America, and we're grateful for the opportunities she provides. The day we opened the doors to our family business was one of the best of my life. Our American workplace encourages and rewards risk-taking, innovation, and hard work. We feel lucky to work with people who've prospered in a country that helped them achieve personal and financial success. We don't take the privilege of living here for granted, and we are proud to be Americans. Visit us at botkinfamilywealth.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times. But when you need us, we're here for you, and we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 52 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 7:30. I'm Rob Taylor. Police investigating this morning after a deadly pedestrian crash in Chartiers Township in Washington County. Police say a person walking along Pike Street around 2 this morning was hit by a vehicle. That person died. Driver stayed on the scene. Investigation continues. Pittsburgh Public Safety says a man was slashed with brass knuckles during a fight in Market Square downtown. Incident happened around 8:30 Friday night on Graham Street downtown. A man broke out brass knuckles and slashed the victim, according to a public safety spokesperson. Police quickly apprehended the alleged suspect. The person who was slashed was taken to a hospital in stable condition. Well, in a statement, Kyle Busch's NASCAR Cup Series team, Richard Childress Racing, says it has elected to suspend the use of the number 8 Chevy Camaro race car that Busch drove until his young son is ready for NASCAR. Speaking to reporters on Friday, NASCAR CEO Steve O'Donnell reacting to the death of Kyle Busch, the two-time National Series champion.
What few people saw was what Kyle also did off the track, because he didn't talk about it a lot. And, you know, one of those examples I'd give to all of you is everybody knows, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but, you know, Daniel Suarez comes over from Mexico, learning English, learning how to race at the National Series level, struggling. Received a call every week from Kyle Busch. Never talked about it.
A day before he died Thursday following a brief hospitalization, Kyle Busch was coughing up blood while at a GM facility in North Carolina, according to the 911 call that was obtained by ABC News. Well, various organizations will come together today for a community outreach event providing vital services to veterans and others experiencing homelessness. We get the story from News Radio KDKA's Pat Septak.
It's called Bridge to Hope, an event hosted by the Disabled American Center's Chapter 76 to provide hope for individuals who are homeless or struggling financially. Leaders from the county, the VA Medical Center, and other organizations will be donating their time and resources to help those who are in need. Dr. Theron White says many community services will be available.
We have individuals who are giving out free haircuts, or we're going to have hot food. We'll have a food bank there as well so they can get any groceries they need. We'll have a clothing bank. They can get any clothing they need. We'll have educational assistance, hygiene products.
Today's event is being held at the Shepherd's Heart Veterans Home located on Pride Street from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And he promises no one will be turned away. Pat Septak, News Radio KDKA.
And the Ligonier Country Market is back in service starting today for its 50th season in a new location this year. It'll be held along Ligonier Street in Latrobe instead of the Lower Hannah Watershed Association. Market will be held each Saturday from 8 to noon, except for June 6th, July 4th, and August 22nd. Market will bring an expected 60,000 to 70,000 visitors to Latrobe over the summer. KDK Radio News Time, 7:33. AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home. The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
It is going to be a cloudy and cool day with rain at times, high just 63. Rain continues into the overnight hours with a low down to 56. It'll be a little warmer tomorrow despite plenty of clouds and a couple of showers with a high up to 76. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Matt Rindy, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is paid for by Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Allegheny Health Physical Medicine, Dr. Don Spalla. $250 free voucher right now is waiting for you. Text 724-224-2224, 724-224-2224. Why 250? Getting ready to celebrate our 250th birthday. Look, let's be serious for just a moment. If you don't get a handle on this neuropathy, it literally can be life-changing, but also can actually be deadly too, because you could step on something, a nail, you could basically get something from it, not even realize you were cut. It could fester to the point you could actually lose a foot, a leg. I mean, there's so much more to it than just tingling in your feet. I think people need to understand you cannot let this go.
Correct. When you have neuropathy and you're not feeling your feet like you should, excuse me, like you said, if you step on something, you scratch something, you drastically increase your risk of infection and you drastically increase your risk of amputation. A lot of people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s either have diagnosed prediabetes or undiagnosed prediabetes, even undiagnosed type 2 diabetes. And that creates a whole other cloud of bad things that can happen. So with that, diabetes, whether it's prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, is one of the #1 causes of neuropathy. And so it's really important that not only with those patients are we looking at dietary guidance and recommendations, but we're also possibly treating neuropathy with laser, because not getting those things under control increase your overall health, right? Increase your risk of stroke, increase your risk of a heart attack, increase your risk of amputation. And so it's not something to play around with if you have tingling and numbness in your legs, in your feet, in your hands. Another big difference is sciatica. There's pinched nerves and things that can happen in the low back that create the tingling and the numbness and the interference into the leg. So some people have trouble differentiating between the two, and that's why we're experts in that field, because some people come in, they think that they have neuropathy, and it's actually a pinched nerve or a low back issue. And we can even, right, that's our expertise as well. Degenerative disc disease is in the realm of our expertise. Degenerative joint disease is in the realm of our expertise. And we have to differentiate those two because all of those things get different treatments, right? One of the things you had asked me before of what separates us from other offices, we spend time with patients. We differentiate the differences between different diagnoses so that treatment for that person is different than it is for anybody else. And so a lot of people, even in the hospital system, right? You go in, I have these symptoms. Here's your meds. I have these symptoms. Here's your surgery, right? That individual isn't looked at as an individual, right? I'm kind of on my soapbox because of what's happened to my mom, but we promise to look at you. That's what makes us different.
Well, the difference, too, from what I've witnessed just being around you, you're more than a doctor of chiropractic medicine. You're an advocate. You really are helping people, and these clients, it's personal. They become a part of who you are, and that's why it's always let's go the extra mile to make sure we get everything solved or at least leave no stone unturned.
Yeah. I started my practice, Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine. We're not associated or affiliated with Allegheny Health Network. But I started my practice back in 2017. I was pregnant with my son. And I was so excited because I had 30 patients on my schedule for a whole entire week. For my whole entire week, I was so excited. And now we have this beautiful brand new office. And we have amazing doctors on our staff. That's not just me. And we're really here to help as many people as possible. And from day one, it's been about, I've told my staff, I had a staff of 2 people when I started. Right. And that even made me nervous. I'm like, I've never had staff before. My number one rule with patients is that everybody that walks in the door should be treated like our family. So it's more, right? There's people out there listening right now that have been through the gamut of, being treated like a number or here's your medications. I've had patients tell me that they tell their PCP in an email that they have tingling in their feet and their PCP emails over a prescription of gabapentin without any physical exam whatsoever. That is wrong.
See, you want to see the progress. You want hands-on.
Absolutely.
That's important to you.
And I'm not sitting here saying that we can fix everything, right? I'm not saying that we have magical wands in our office where you walk in, we're going to wave our wands and do one adjustment and you're going to be back to where you need to be, because health and wellness is a journey. But I'm promising you that you have a hand to hold and you have somebody to rely on during that journey. And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have the confidence in their PCP or a confidence in their specialists to be able to guide them to what they need to do. That's not just, well, here's a prescription, or not just, well, go to see this specialist. That's what makes us different. But the other part of it is that knowing if it's an issue that we don't think we can help with, or knowing if it's an issue where somebody needs a different form of care before they start with us, we're going to guide you to that next person and make sure that you're taken care of.
Let me ask you something, because, we've talked about the diabetes and accidents. Do you think that there may be something else out there that people haven't really been able to nail down that is causing so many people to get neuropathy? Maybe something in the air. I don't know.
Medications.
Yeah.
Really strong antibiotics. Flagyl is a cause of neuropathy. It's a documented cause of neuropathy. I'm not just making that up. Long-term use of some blood pressure and some cholesterol medications causes neuropathy over a long period of time. How many people do we know go to the doctor, blood pressure slightly high a couple times, they get their blood pressure medication, they're on that medication the rest of their life without any guidance of how to decrease that blood pressure, right? Again, I'm not here saying that medications are an enemy or doctors who prescribe medications are an enemy, but we're not being as transparent with some of these lifetime medications that people are on as we should be, because there's risks to taking those medications for a lifetime.
And here's the thing. You always say motion is lotion. When you stop moving, everything starts to go in the wrong direction. And if you can't walk, and you can't navigate a set of stairs, I mean, it has nowhere to go but down.
Yeah, I mean, you stop your movement, you look at fluid retention, and then you get put on Lasix to get rid of fluid retention, and then you have kidney issues, and so then you're having trouble going to the bathroom or having trouble retaining urine, and then they start talking about dialysis, and then that starts increasing your risk of blood clots. Like that doesn't happen for everybody. I don't want to sound like I'm painting the picture for everybody, but neuropathy is a very common part of a chronic health problem.
Big picture, right?
Yeah, and we're here to make a bigger difference for people. So please text. I know Stephanie just sent me a message saying we only have 2 vouchers left.
That's it?
That's it. So I think you said I'll be back June 20th.
Yes.
And we want to get those voucher spots filled, but we can also put you on a wait list if you call or text this morning.
Yeah, that number is 724-224-2224. We have a $250 voucher on the table as we get ready to celebrate our 250th birthday. 724-224-2224. As she mentioned, Stephanie at the office says there are only 2 vouchers left, so don't miss out. 724-224-2224. Last thing before we come back and summarize. This just isn't a senior citizen's disease. People need to understand that, right?
Yes. You know, I've had a patient 26 years old come in with extremely debilitating neuropathy. People in their 30s, you know, are weekend warriors that think we're indestructible, right? We think that our diet isn't really, we don't need to pay attention to it yet. That's where type 2 diabetes starts. That's where pre-diabetes starts. You know, into your 40s, into your 50s, you know.
Let me tell you how bad it's getting. I got 4 hours sleep last night, and I woke up today thinking, boy, it took 40 years, but I'm finally figuring out 4 hours sleep. Boy, what a good night's sleep. So I'm just saying.
My goodness.
I've been pushing it so hard for so long, but you need more sleep. You need to be able to be active. You need to be able to negotiate life. And here's the other thing that I learned, because I've been around a lot of people in medicine and people of chiropractic medicine. Every time you walk, that's like a pump. It recirculates your blood to your heart, and it just continues to evolve. It's just like any other pump, a pump handle, if you will. And when you're not walking, that's not good for heart health, and the heart's the biggest muscle we've got going.
Yeah, for sure. And with your nervous system, you know, your spine protects your whole entire nervous system, right? You have your brain and your skull, so that's what protects your brain, and then you have your spine, and your spine protects your nervous system. So people kind of think that chiropractic has a bad rap, or they think we lay you down on a table and come at you with a flying elbow and that's how we roll. But that's not how it is, you guys. An adjustment is such an amazing, powerful thing. And even if you think you know what an adjustment is, I encourage you to schedule a consultation with us.
I used to kind of like those elbows deep tissue massage. I'll tell you.
We'll book you an appointment with my husband then.
They can go a long way to make you feel a whole lot better. Chiropractic medicine, highly recommended. Allegheny Health, physical medicine, $250 voucher, only 2 left. 724-224-2224. Text that number now, 724-224-2224. We'll be back.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA. News Radio, KDKA. Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Quality Foods with 8 locations to serve you a Pittsburgh tradition. Bubba Chandler struck out 11, but the Pirates had 3 crucial errors and lost to Toronto 6-2. 2 teams again today in Canada, 3:05 first pitch, 93.7 The Fan. Number 14 Pitt continues to impress at the ACC tournament. They beat the number 3 seed Florida State Seminoles 8-6 yesterday. It's the semifinal matchup today against North Carolina, first pitch at 3. On the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights over Colorado. They scored 3 in the third, the final 3-1. They're up 2-0. And OKC defeated the San Antonio Spurs 123-108. The defending NBA champs are up in that series 2-1. Byron Nelson tournament through 2 rounds. Siwoo Kim is at 18 under. He has a 5-shot lead. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Hey folks, my friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Scott from Aspinwall was amazed at NASCO's quality, honesty, work ethic, and superior craftsmanship. Scott loved working with NASCO and appreciated that NASCO doesn't use high-pressure sales tactics like other companies. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Scott. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
In Pittsburgh, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 25 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Pittsburgh. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Save $2 when you buy 2 cans of Superior Products Coverall Tire Dressing. Plus, get 4 times O-Rewards points now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, just a few minutes ago, the last time we heard from the office, they only had 2 of these vouchers left. $250 free voucher. Allegheny Health Physical Medicine, the number you have to text. We only have like 2 left. 724-2224, 2224, 724-2224, 2224. So once again, 724-224-2224. So somebody gets the voucher, they come in, just kind of give us a quick overview. What happens after they get into the building?
Yeah, so we do a pretty extensive medical history to see, can we identify a cause just from that history? We start a physical exam, so orthopedic testing, neurological testing, sharp touch, light touch, balance tests. Sometimes we'll do x-rays to see if there's any physical pinching of nerves or nervous system issues in the spine or some type of mobility issue.
I never knew you could see that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Chiropractors spend actually more time. We spend more time in school in radiology than medical doctors. Again, that's not saying anything bad about them. That's just the facts of education. But we spend more time reading x-rays and looking at radiology than a lot of people do, not as much as a radiologist. But we use x-rays and or MRIs, right? If patients have had MRIs, CT scans, we encourage them to bring those with them for a review. Then kind of putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together and figuring out what the best option of treatment will be. Now, here's the big thing, and we don't do this very often, is that you get a $250 voucher today.
That's a good deal.
To go towards your first treatment. So you can experience, if you're a candidate, and if we think that the laser and the neuropathy treatments are going to be extremely beneficial for you, that gets you into a treatment for free as a bonus to see if it's something that you really want to go forward with. And not a lot of people get that. It's either you have to buy into it or not.
Listen, I've done a lot of things in my life in this industry, but the thing I've noticed about you from day one to where we are today, you're just really passionate about this. I mean, this is like in your wheelhouse. You get up every day ready to tackle the day because you love making a difference.
I do. And I'm probably a little bit more fired up today again because of what my mom's been going through for the whole entire month of May. But not enough people have an advocate for them. And not enough people can say that their PCP or their specialist is an advocate for them. And again, if we don't have an option in our office that we think is going to help, we will advocate for that next step of not only our recommendation of what's next, but also a recommendation of somebody who offers quality treatment. Not enough people have an advocate. I've been my mom's advocate for the past month, and it's sometimes appalling what people have to go through in the medical system. Again, I'm happy that there's experts and surgeons and doctors out there.
You just have had a really rough go of it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I went through it with my mom, too. I totally respect it. There's good and bad in everything. But before you leave us, just remind folks, these are some of the symptoms that if you're experiencing these symptoms right now and you're listening to us on this Saturday morning, you're going to want to at least try to get in while we have a couple of these free vouchers left. But tell them if they're experiencing some of these symptoms, there's a chance, and in a good chance, they may have neuropathy.
If you have burning, tingling, or numbness in your toes, your feet, your hands, your fingers, if you have, burning, stabbing that keeps you from going to sleep at night. So maybe you're a fairly active person. You're walking around, you're doing all your stuff all day, and you lay down in bed at night, and your feet, maybe your feet seem restless, or you have some restless legs, right? Restless leg syndrome is kind of a beginning start to some neuropathy factors as well. You lay down at night and you can't go to sleep because of the sensations in your feet, or you go to walk in the kitchen and you step on a little teeny tiny crumb and you levitate through the roof because it's so painful when you do that. I've had patients tell me that they go on vacation to the beach with their family. They can't even stand to walk in sand because it's so severe, that pain is. It makes them drop to their knees. So they've stopped living life with their families, right? They're confined to a bedroom, or they're confined to a carpeted area. You can have like bruising or discoloration in your feet or your shins. Before any sensation issues happen, you can have some, it looks like bruising, or maybe it's not bruising. Maybe you've had it checked out. That is an early sign of diabetes that goes hand in hand with developing neuropathy. Even any type of radiating pain. So if you've had sciatica for a long time, if you've been told you have sciatica and it's just something that you have to live with, or, do this stretch and your sciatica will get better and it's not. That is sometimes a beginning sign that your nervous system isn't functioning and can be a part of neuropathy, but it can be something completely different that we still specialize in treating.
I think people need to hear this too. You think, well, and a lot of people find a way to maneuver around it and to get by with it and think, well, it's kind of like, my legs are asleep. It has good days. It has bad days. Once you get it, this isn't going to go away.
No. We want to catch it early. Our results in our office are about 90% of patients have somewhere between a 70 to 100% improvement in their neuropathy symptoms. We can't put an exact number on it because there's so many different factors that affect neuropathy, but I have patients coming to me all the time that say, hey, if you can even make this 20% better, that's going to change my life. So I highly encourage you to text. You can also call that number, but my assistant right now said that our power is out at our office. So eventually you can call, but right now you're going to text 724-224-2224. But you can also go to our website, AlleghenyHealth.com, and there is a link that you can request a new patient appointment on there. And if you put in there, like request that appointment, and you say that you heard us on the radio, we'll give you a call and we'll give you that consultation. I think on the website it says $49. But if you put in that box that you heard us on the radio, you will get that free consultation.
And I also want you to know, if you just want a good chiropractor or you're looking for chiropractic care.
Heck yeah. Everybody on the face of this planet should be getting a chiropractic adjustment of some sort. I don't care if you think that I'm crazy, because I am. I admit it.
You're crazy in love with what you do.
I am. Everybody on this planet could benefit from a really specific, nervous system check, and that's what we do in our office every day.
Yes, because I am one big nervous system. Listen, speedy recovery to your mom. Thoughts and prayers. Much love. Thank you. By the time you get back here, I think you'll be on vacation, so have a nice vacation.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. I don't know if she's listening, but hi, Mom.
Yeah, we wish you nothing but the best. Get well soon. All right, listen, we're going to get a break in here, and then coming up next hour, it's a best of edition. Secure Money Advisors on the money. Brian is off this weekend for the holiday, spending it with his lovely bride and children. Be back with us next week, and then MediConnect will be here. 10 o'clock, the guys from True Value. 11 o'clock, AAA Central Talking Travel, and we're not done yet. We have a noon hour engagement today in which we're going to have a chance to talk about some of the headlines that you're going to hear next with Rob Taylor in the news at 8. Good morning.
The proceeding was paid for by Allegheny Health and Physical Medicine. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
While you sleep, There are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, if you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with auto pay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 52 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 8 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. Police are investigating this morning after a deadly pedestrian crash in Chartiers Township, Washington County. Police say a person walking on Pike Street around 2 this morning was struck by a vehicle. That person has since died. The driver stayed on the scene. The incident is under investigation. Pittsburgh Public Safety says a man was slashed with brass knuckles during a fight in Market Square downtown. Incident happened around 8:30 Friday night on Graham Street. A man broke out brass knuckles and slashed that victim, according to a public safety spokesperson. Police quickly took the alleged suspect into custody. The person who was slashed was taken to a hospital in stable condition. Well, a Wilkinsburg man on Friday indicted by a federal grand jury in Pittsburgh on charges of influencing, impeding, or retaliating against a federal official or federal law enforcement officer by threat. Federal officials say 40-year-old Raymond Chandler III repeatedly called members of Congress and left threatening voicemails, including that he would kill a Congress member and the Congress member's daughter, along with President Trump. Officials say the voicemails occurred between April of last year and May 1st of this year. Chandler faces up to 10 years in prison for each of the 5 counts for which he's charged, along with a fine of up to $250,000 for each indictment count. Well, in a statement, Kyle Busch's NASCAR Cup Series team, Richard Childress Racing, says it has elected to suspend the use of the number 8 Chevy Camaro race car that Kyle Busch drove until his young son, who's 11, is ready for NASCAR. Speaking to reporters on Friday, NASCAR CEO Steve O'Donnell reacted to the death of Kyle Busch, the 2-time National Series champion.
What few people saw was what Kyle also did off the track, because he didn't talk about it a lot. And, one of those examples I'd give to all of you is everybody knows, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but, Daniel Suarez comes over from Mexico, learning